Chapter 271. There's no need. Bei Yunji's eyes moved as she remembered the message Qin Luyan had sent her before. So he really bought it for her. You don't like it? Qin Luyan's eyes darkened. Or does Gu not like brother's gift? The gift is too expensive. Bei Yunji's eyes were clear, but her tone was faint and distant. Qin Luyan's hand that was holding the gift caressed the gift box slightly, the smile on his lips gentle. Gu, do you hate brother a lot? Bei Yunji did not understand why these people from the Qin family were so abnormal and started to treat her so well. Seeing that Bei Yunji did not speak for a long time, Qin Luyan's lips suddenly curled up and his low voice was filled with laughter. Then you don't hate me anymore. Bei Yunji was perplexed. Then accompany brother to visit grandpa? Qin Luyan's words caught what Bei Yunji was concerned about. Okay. Bei Yunji thought that she had not visited the old master yet and nodded. Seeing this, the smile on Qin Luyan's lips lifted imperceptibly. His gaze that swept over Bei Yunji was filled with gentleness. In the hospital. After the old master's surgery, his condition was slowly recovering. However, in the past 2 days, he had also heard Mrs. Qin crying and complaining about how Qin Luyan had chased Qin Youjiao away from the Qin family. Old Master Qin's eyelids twitched. Luyan, did you really chase Youjiao away from the Qin family? Qin Luyan peeled an apple slowly. She shouldn't have stayed. Old Master Qin did not know what to say for a moment. This grandson of his had the weakest sense of blood ties and seemed to do everything according to his mood. However, he did not expect Qin Luyan to be able to do something as disgraceful as sending his parents overseas just to get rid of Qin Youjiao. 2 days ago, your mother cried here for the entire afternoon. Those who don't know might think that I'm gone. The corners of old Master Qin's lips twitched. If grandpa doesn't like it, I can still send her overseas, Qin Luyan said calmly. These words sounded as if they were discussing how the weather was today. No need, no need. Even old Master Qin was inexplicably afraid of his grandson. Back when he had chosen Qin Luyan as the heir, he could also see that Qin Luyan had the courage to govern the Qin clan. However, he did not expect Qin Luyan's current methods to be even more ruthless. He could not figure out Qin Luyan's thoughts at all. Aren't you afraid that your mother will hate you and kill herself? Old Master Qin sighed. That's her business. Qin Luyan's tone remained indifferent. After saying this, Bei Yunji had just finished changing the water in the vase and walked in. Gu, you don't have to be so concerned about this. Old Master Qin smiled. He turned around and saw that the apple in Qin Luyan's hand had been peeled. He instinctively reached out to take it. But he didn't expect that. Qin Luyan suddenly stood up and handed the peeled apple to Bei Yunji. Gu, try this apple first. Big brother will peel another one for grandpa later. Old Master Qin was speechless. Bei Yunji nodded, took the apple and took a bite. It's quite sweet. It's delicious. Hearing this, Qin Luyan's lips curved and he sat back down, picking up another apple slowly. Grandpa, don't be anxious. There's more here. Old Master Qin put on a fake smile and forced himself to maintain his dignity. How am I anxious? That's good. Qin Luyan nodded. Chapter 272. Hearing this, old Master Qin could not catch his breath and looked at Qin Luyan with a terrible expression. This brat was really too vicious. However, what surprised old Master Qin even more was that Qin Luyan was doing this to protect Bei Yunji. A dark look flashed across his eyes and he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. That was good. If Lu Yan could protect Gu, at least Gu would not be bullied in the future. Then, halfway through peeling the apple, Qin Lang suddenly came to visit old master. Gu, Qin Lang's eyes lit up when he saw Bei Yunji. However, this also made Qin Luyan frown quietly. Alright, old master, I'm going deaf from your shouting. Old Master Qin rolled his eyes. Gu, are you hungry? Do you want third brother to go downstairs and buy you something? After Qin Lang put down the fruit, he went to Bei Yunja's side. There's no need. Bei Yunja's eyelids twitched. At this moment, Qin Luyan watched Qin Lang stick to Bei Yunj as he slowly peeled the apple. It was only when Bei Yunj found an excuse to leave that Qin Luyan handed the apple to Old Master Qin and called out to Qin Lang. Qin Lang. What's wrong, brother? Gu chatted with me for a long time just now and didn't notice you were here. Qin Lang was overjoyed. At this moment, Qin Luyan said calmly, come out with me. When Qin Lang heard this, he thought that Qin Luyan was going to say something intimate to him and happily followed him out. Seeing this, Old Master Qin could not help but wonder. How can there be such a silly person in my Qin family? Could anything good happen if he was called out by Qin Luyan? In the corridor, Qin Lang started to praise his relationship with Bei Yunj again. Qin Lang. Huh? Qin Lang was stunned. Qin Luyan smiled, his eyes refined and elegant. He reached out to help him tidy the creases on his clothes. Stop pestering Gu, if you don't want to go to S country to dig coal. Qin Lang froze. On the same day, Bei Yunj also made an appointment with Marcus' niece, Jian Shi, to meet at the Computing Institute. At the entrance of the Computing Institute, Jian Shi was stopped without any preparation. Before Jian Shi could contact Bei Yunj, she suddenly saw a familiar figure. Professor C. Look at me, look at me. Jian Shi shouted as she jumped up. Si Qingyan heard a familiar voice and turned around to see Jian Shi standing at the door. Why are you here? Si Qingyan's eyelids twitched as he spoke to Jian Shi indifferently. The reason was that when this young lady first entered the school, she had confessed to Si Qingyan because she felt that Si Qingyan was capable and good-looking. Si Qingyan felt a headache coming on. Was this guy here to look for him again? They even went to the Computing Institute? I'm here to look for my teacher. Upon hearing this, Si Qingyan thought to himself that she was indeed here to look for him. However, as he thought about it, he realized that something was wrong. Who is your teacher? Si Qingyan looked at her. My teacher's surname is Pei. Do you know her? Jian Shi asked with a smile. Hearing this, Si Qingyan's body trembled. In the entire Computing Institute, only that person with the surname Pei, was Bei Yunj that capable? She directly took in the top student of Yun University's Computing Institute? Why did you suddenly find a teacher? Back then, Marcus had contacted Si Qingyan privately and revealed that Jian Shi was his niece, hoping that Si Qingyan would take care of her more. Chapter 273. Because the teachers in school are not very good, Jian Shi said without thinking. Meanwhile, Si Qingyan's mind was filled with this sentence: the teachers in school were not good. Jian Shi saw that Si Qingyan's expression had darkened and immediately explained, you taught very well, but I know everything, so I want to find a more difficult teacher. It's quite difficult for her to teach. Si Qingyan chuckled indifferently. If it was not difficult, could those two interns from our nation's Computing Institute be trained like that? How is it? Is my teacher good? Jian Shi had never seen Bei Yunj before. She liked her crazily just because Bei Yunj had taught her a few lessons. However, what Jian Shi did not expect was that she could understand what Bei Yunj taught because she had taught Tich and Jasmine before. Si Qingyan gave a fake smile. Great, great. Then Professor C, so go and find her yourself. After saying that, Si Qingyan left. Jian Shi? Just as Jian Shi was asking around for directions, Cheng Zihuai, who was following up on the project, saw Jian Shi. Who is that person? Cheng Zihuai asked. Hearing this, the boy beside her looked at Jian Shi and his eyes lit up. It's our junior from Yun University, Jian Shi. She's the top student in the computing faculty. Moreover, she skipped a grade and was admitted. Cheng Zihuai's eyes flickered. He did not expect this girl, who looked younger than him, to be so capable. Is she here for an internship too? Cheng Zihuai asked. I don't think so. She's heading to building number 3. She might be an intern or student brought by an official member. What do you mean? Cheng Zihuai frowned. Weren't the interns in the computing institute all taught by teachers? It means that an outstanding intern can follow the teacher who chose her in advance. At this point, the boy said mysteriously, I heard that an incredible big boss came to building number 3. She's not even a member of our institute, but she has the treatment of an official member. Moreover, this person is being poached by the superintendent himself. When Cheng Zihuai heard this, for some reason, he suddenly remembered the person who had rejected him previously. She was also in Cloud City. A dark glint appeared in Cheng Zihuai's eyes. He clenched his fists and asked calmly, then do you know where this person was dug up from? I don't know. I heard the teachers mention the computing institute a few times. Maybe. As soon as he finished speaking, Cheng Zihuai's heart tightened as his gaze deepened. It was indeed her. At this moment, the boy was still muttering to himself, the big boss is indeed the big boss. 2 top computing institutes are fighting over him. If it were us, we would fight to the death for an intern position. I still have something to do. You can go to the lab first. With that, Cheng Zihuai chased after Jian Shi. Jian Shi had just found the 3rd building and was about to enter when someone called out to her. Hello, Miss Jian. When Jian Shi heard this, she turned around impatiently. However, when she saw Cheng Zihuai's face clearly, her heart could not help but race. She was really good-looking. Who are you? Jian Shi coughed lightly and raised her head proudly. I'm an intern here. Miss Jian, are you here to look for a teacher? Why don't I take you there? Cheng Zihuai pretended not to know that Jian Shi was personally taught by a teacher. Chapter 274. Teaching teacher? Other than me, my teacher only brought 2 interns. Jian Shi added silently. Besides, it's not what you know. Cheng Zihuai was curious as to why Jian Shi could be chosen by an official member. After all, there were even doctorates among this group of interns. As a 3rd-year high school student, he already had the worst foundation among this batch of interns. Is that so? Cheng Zihuai smiled gently, but he had other ideas in his heart. Then can I leave Miss Jian's cell phone number? Even if Jian Shi did not know the person from our nation's computing institute, she was still a student taught by an official member. As long as he had a good relationship with Jian Shi, he would definitely have a chance to meet that woman. Cheng Zihuai's eyes darkened. When he saw that Jian Shi was about to take out her cell phone and save his number, his lips curled up unconsciously. But suddenly, someone called Jian Shi. Cheng Zihuai happened to see the caller ID. Teacher. His body stiffened and his pupils constricted. It was her. At this moment, Jian Shi saw that Bai Yunj had called and her mood instantly improved. Jian Shi's eyes lit up. Teacher, I'm already downstairs. Bai Yunj leaned lazily against the railing and looked at Cheng Zihuai, who was still planning to seduce her student. She looked at her watch, her bright eyes wild and playful. She seemed to be doing it on purpose. Yes, I thought teacher had fallen out of favor. Hearing this, Jian Shi felt like she was going to die. My teacher is the cutest in the world. Teacher, I'm coming, I'm coming. Jian Shi did not even look at Cheng Zihuai as she ran into the building. He could not stop her. At the same time, Cheng Zihuai's expression turned ugly. He looked at Jian Shi's figure running away and subconsciously looked upstairs. But at this moment, there was no one upstairs. Cheng Zihuai's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. That woman would rather accept Jian Shi than him? Sooner or later, he would find that woman and make her change her mind. On the 5th floor. Bei Yunj received a call. "Miss Pei? Do you still remember me? I'm Delaney. What's the matter? I have a student coming over." Bei Yunj's tone was still indifferent, but at this moment, Delaney was trying to please Bei Yunj. Yes, about our 1 billion. Just when Bei Yunj thought that he was going to bargain, she suddenly heard Delaney say gently, "How about another 100 million? Bei Yunj, this was the first time she had seen someone complaining that they didn't bleed enough. "Miss Pei, I was too unruly last time. Can this 100 million be considered as our reconciliation fee?" Delaney said anxiously. There was a reason for Delaney's exhaustion. The results of Bei Yunj's research were almost out. He never thought that just when he thought that he had been taken advantage of, the other two rival companies would actually look for Marcus and be willing to double the price to buy the rights to use Bei Yunj's project. He hadn't even officially signed the contract yet, and someone was already trying to steal his project. There's no need for that. We'll take whatever we set. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she saw a figure at the door and hung up. As for Delaney, who had been hung up on, his smile froze. "Has your teacher always been like this? She doesn't even want to earn money?" Delaney could not help but turn to look at Tich. Tich thought for a moment. "Dad, have you ever thought that she might not care about this 100 million? Chapter 275. Delaney was silent for a moment before sitting beside Tich again. He patted his shoulder amiably. "Learn from your teacher well. When necessary, put in a good word for your father." Tich trembled. This was the first time his father valued him so much. Back then, when he entered the computing institute, Delaney was still crazy about it. He arrogantly said that his son did not need to learn from those old-fashioned people. It was too embarrassing. Now, he was asking his son to get in through the back door. Tich swallowed his saliva. "This is quite difficult." Every time during class, he could feel the teacher's mood turn from sunny to gloomy. He and Jasmine were afraid of being scolded. Fortunately, Bei Yunj did not seem to have the habit of scolding people. "Difficult? Aren't you the top student in school?" Delaney was very unhappy. Suddenly, an excellent idea flashed through his mind. He reached out and touched Tich's head. He was so gentle that it was scary. "Son, we men can sacrifice our looks when necessary. Do you understand?" If others heard that the young master of the Delaney group had to sacrifice his looks to fight for an opportunity for the group, he would probably be in the headlines for half a month. Tich was so frightened that he almost jumped up. He was so angry that he laughed. "Dad, if you don't want to be hunted down by my teacher, please be normal. Jasmine is the best-looking person in our circle. I've never seen him have such thoughts. Jasmine's mother was the most famous movie queen in our nation, and his father was the founder of the first group in the fashion industry. In the industry, he was sought after by countless people. However, in front of his teacher, they were just students who were a little difficult to teach." Delaney was speechless. This brat only had this bit of ambition. "Forget it. Learn from your teacher. Just don't make her angry." Delaney rolled her eyes and left angrily. Tich was speechless. At the Computing Institute. "You're here." After Bei Yunj hung up the phone, his gaze landed on Jian Shi. Jian Shi looked at Bei Yunj in front of her and froze when she heard this familiar voice. This was her teacher? Wasn't she too young? When she first heard Bei Yunj's voice, she felt that her teacher should be very young, but she did not expect her to be so young. Teacher, yes. Bei Yunj's red lips curved into a smile as she looked at the person who liked to act coquettishly on the internet. "What's the matter?" Jian Shi looked at Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes, especially those eyes that were smiling at her. For some reason, her heart beat faster. Wasn't he too good-looking? Why didn't Marcus say that her teacher was so good-looking? No, nothing. Teacher, can I come here to teach next time? Jian Shi stared straight at Bei Yunj with a fiery gaze. Anything is fine. It depends on your schedule. Bei Yunj sat at the table and asked slowly, who did you see downstairs just now? Jian Shi was stunned for a moment before she quickly reacted. Bei Yunj must have seen her greeting Cheng Zihuai. I don't know him, but he's quite good-looking. Well, don't bother with people you don't know. Bei Yunj patted the chair next to her and gestured for her to sit down. All right. Jian Shi suppressed her excitement and threw her palpitations towards Cheng Zihuai to the back of her mind. Teacher, have you graduated? Jian Shi could not help but ask. Not yet. Chapter 276. Jian Shi continued to ask, which school is it? Hengda, Bei Yunj answered as he did his work. Hearing this, Jian Shi regretted it. Why did she skip grades back then? Otherwise, she would not have been classmates with the teacher. Wait. Hengda? Jian Shi's smile froze. Some time ago, didn't the school leaders ask her to go to Hengda to help give a speech and teach the third-year students their college entrance examination experience and cheer them on? What's wrong? Bei Yunj turned to look at Jian Shi. Jian Shi shook her head frantically and forced a smile. Nothing. No, she could not go. If she went on stage to give a speech and saw Bei Yunj, she would probably be so nervous that she could not speak. As Bei Yunj still had something to talk to Zhong Xinglin about, Bei Yunj asked Jian Shi to go back first. However, Jian Shi did not expect to see Cheng Zihuai waiting not far away when she went downstairs. Seeing this, she frowned without batting an eyelid. When she first saw Cheng Zihuai, she did not notice that this person seemed to be approaching her with a motive. However, when she thought of what Bei Yunj had said to her, Jian Shi suddenly calmed down. This person was definitely not a good person. Miss Jian. Cheng Zihuai saw that Jian Shi pretended not to see him and walked out. He could not help but frown and call out to her. What's the matter? Jian Shi was a little impatient and her gaze was arrogant. It was Cheng Zihuai's first time hitting on a girl. He could not help but feel embarrassed. However, a moment later, he clenched his fists and revealed a charming smile. Senior Jian is at Yun University? Then we should meet in a year's time. If you have something to say, you can tell me directly. I still have to go home. Jian Shi glanced at her watch with an indifferent attitude. This made Cheng Zihuai feel strange. The way Jian Shi looked at him just now clearly had a good impression of him. Then I'll send you off. It's not safe for a girl to be alone. Cheng Zihuai acted very gentlemanly. If it was before, Jian Shi might have been tempted. But now, she was only on guard. There's no need. My teacher said not to interact with strangers. Jian Shi smiled at Cheng Zihuai and left. This reaction caused Cheng Zihuai's face to darken. I say, brother, aren't you too awesome? Instead of working hard in the computing institute, you're flirting with the beloved disciple of a big boss? The boy who usually spoke to Cheng Zihuai laughed. How do you know her identity? Cheng Zihuai frowned. Did you see that thing in her hand? This is our identity pass. Hers is a deck of cards. Normally, official members would reserve 1 or 2 slots for their students. If nothing goes wrong, Jian Shi will be able to get it as soon as she arrives today. This means that her teacher dotes on her. Listen to Yen. Cheng Zihuai felt even more upset as he stared at Jian Shi's back. The things that he couldn't get were easily obtained by someone else. Listen to me, don't think too much about it. Jian Shi has been a proud daughter of heaven since she was young. For half a month. Qin Youjiao, who did not appear in Hengda, was on the headlines every day. Because of the piano concert tour, not only did she receive praise from well-known pianists in the industry, but the scene of Mrs. Qin and Mrs. Cheng presenting flowers on stage was also enviable. Back then, they thought that Qin Yojia would be in dire straits after being chased out. Who knew that there would be such a scene? Chapter 277. Qin Yojia was indeed a princess to be able to make her mother-in-law and her mother, who was not related to her by blood, go on stage to give flowers and hug her. So, not long after, Qin Yojia started to attract a large number of fans again. Many marketing accounts praised her for her beauty and kindness. However, within a few days, Mrs. Qin was almost angered to death by her eldest son. Because Qin Luyan had warned her last time, she did not care. In the end, the next day, Qin Luyan actually banned her card. He even asked his secretary to tell her that if she wanted to buy anything in the future, she had to use a receipt to reimburse herself. She was already so old, but she was still being pranked by her son like this? Class 7. Master Pei, come on. A life that doesn't play games is incomplete. Don't worry, Brother Lu will take you flying. Before Bei Yunj could react, Lu Yuanci snatched her phone and wanted to install the game for her. I don't like this kind of thing. Bei Yunj furrowed her eyebrows unconsciously and resisted. Are you afraid of losing, Master Pei? To think that you would have such a day? Lu Yuanci seemed to have discovered something incredible and even said loudly on purpose. As a result, Chu Zhixing, who was behind him, looked at him with an exceptionally benevolent and pitiful gaze. Bei Yunj was speechless. Soon after Lu Yuanci installed the phone app for her, he could not help but complain, "Why is your phone interface cleaner than mine?" There was no girl's pink and tender interface. She was going to be kicked out of the ranks of girls. You have a lot of things to do. Bei Yunj smiled at him. Lu Yuanci registered an account for Bei Yunj. I hope you won't admire me too much after you finish playing the game. Bei Yunj looked up and glanced at her iPad. In the end, she took the phone. Within moments. When the team battle started, Bei Yunj was like a Buddha praying. She did not take advantage of the situation or kill anyone. She just watched Lu Yuanci operate. However, Lu Yuanci could not bring her along, probably because his opponent was not very good. Especially when he glanced back and saw Bei Yunj's character not moving at all, the corners of his lips could not help but twitch. Master Pei, move. This is a competitive game. Don't be afraid of killing, okay? Hearing this, the other boys couldn't help but laugh. Bei Yunj had just split the screen and roughly looked at the settings of the game. When she heard Lu Yuanci's words, she quickly returned to the game. Okay. Really? Lu Yuanci was very suspicious of this newbie. Even this game was created with his help. But in the next moment, when Lu Yuanci's gaze returned to the game, he suddenly realized that there was one less opponent. Soon, the news of Bei Yunj's first blood appeared on the public chat. Lu Yuanci was confused. What the hell? The player who had just been killed by Bei Yunj had the best positioning among all of them. He hadn't looked at the interface for a few seconds. Bei Yunj, today you. Her luck was not bad. Before Lu Yuanci could finish speaking, he saw Bei Yunj taking the heads of the players one by one. The scene was like a one-sided slaughter field for her. The game ended in less than 10 minutes. He, on the other hand, took on the role of Bei Yunj's chanting Buddha in the early stages of the game and watched her torture and kill. In the end, Bei Yunj put down her phone and said leisurely, "Brother Lu, it's nothing." Lu Yuanci was speechless. "Brother Lu, what's the matter? How's Master Pei's operation?" A boy next to him came over with a cheeky smile, thinking that Lu Yuanci did not manage to drive Bei Yunj. P.S. Good boys, remember to vote. Every 150 monthly votes, I will add an update. There will be an update later. Chapter 278. Lu Yuanci's lips moved, but he didn't say anything in the end. It wasn't until the rankings lit up on the screen that the boys at the back froze when they saw it clearly. Was there something wrong with their eyes? What was going on with the first place, PYG? Wasn't this result too heaven-defying? Did the other team members eat vegetarian and pray to Buddha? Why were their hands so clean? Brother Lu, are you in second place? The boy at the back asked in a trembling voice. At least Lu Yuanci had a head. The last few people really seemed to be here to redeem all living beings. Lu Yuanci was a little speechless. However, at this moment, Bei Yunj glanced at Lu Yuanci. That glance was particularly meaningful. Lu Yuanci was speechless. Master Pei is awesome. The boy at the back couldn't help but shout excitedly. Who? Who is Master Pei? During the afternoon self-study, the physics teacher happened to come to the class to ask who was willing to participate in the physics competition. In the end, he tried his best to persuade them for a long time, but no one paid attention to him. At this moment, the classroom was still very quiet. You're already a master. At least stand up and let me recognize you. How about that? The physics teacher teased. Bei Yunj was speechless. In the end, under the gaze of the physics teacher, Bei Yunj slowly stood up. Teacher Zhao. The moment Bei Yunj stood up, the physics teacher's eyes lit up. Okay. Then it's you. You're indeed my class representative. Your courage is commendable. Bei Yunj was speechless. She didn't hear what the physics teacher said on stage just now, but for some reason, she had a bad premonition. Bei Yunj looked back at Chu Zhixing and hinted with her eyes for Chu Zhixing to remind her of what the physics teacher wanted to do. At this moment, Chu Zhixing stood up. Teacher Zhao, why don't I participate? The physics competition. Student Pei probably doesn't like it. As soon as he finished speaking, suddenly, Ling Jiwei laughed and said in a strange tone, That's right, Teacher Zhao. Don't you know the results of Bei Yunj's participation in the competition? There's no need for Student Pei to embarrass herself, right? Ling Jiwei, can you speak properly? Lu Yuanci's eyes turned cold. Hearing Lu Yuanci openly defend Bei Yunj, Ling Jiwei's heart became even more twisted. Am I not telling the truth? I'm just thinking for her sake. I don't want her to be embarrassed. She couldn't help but sneer and look at Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, do you dare to participate in this competition? Although Ling Jiwei's words were sarcastic, everyone knew that her words were crude but not crude. Bei Yunj's score, if he went out to compete, he would only be treated as a joke. In the past, no one in their class had participated in the competition because they didn't want to be laughed at. I think Ling Jiwei is right. If Bei Yunj participates in the competition, our class 7 will lose all face. A bespectacled boy couldn't help but whisper in agreement. The group of people behind them didn't study hard. In the entire class 7, there were only 1 or 2 people who could be brought to the table. Teacher, I also don't agree with Bei Yunj's participation in the competition. She's so popular. What if she loses the competition and leads our class to the headlines? I can't afford to lose face like that. Another girl raised her hand and said angrily. Everyone knew in their hearts that they wouldn't just lose. They were clearly going to hit a new low in history. That's right. If she goes, I'll change classes. Someone glanced at Bei Yunj in disgust and said arrogantly. P.S. Be good. Every 150 votes, I'll add 1 more chapter. There's no limit to the number of chapters. All 10 chapters were completed yesterday. Old Su went to update his old books. Chapter 279. Suddenly, the physics teacher slammed the table and glanced at everyone coldly. If she doesn't go, who is willing to go? As soon as he finished speaking, the people who were arrogant just now were suddenly speechless. Who would want to embarrass themselves like this? They rarely saw the physics teacher so serious and indifferent. There are 2 places in each class for this competition. If you don't agree, stand up and compete. What right do you have to ask others to satisfy your selfish desires? As long as you're willing to climb up the ladder, do you think the doubts on the way are important? Hearing this, the people in the class were even more speechless. Zhao Yi was the teacher with the most experience in teaching. He was meticulous and was not like the other teachers who were full of resistance when they took over the 7th class. After all, whoever took over the 7th class would be paid a fixed salary. They would not be able to get any bonuses or anything like that. Unless there was a provincial top scorer. Teacher. I don't agree with Bei Yunj going. Suddenly, a boy wearing glasses stood up. His eyes were a little gloomy. He still remembered clearly how Bei Yunj threw his tie at him in front of so many people and embarrassed him. This time, he wanted Bei Yunj to have a taste of humiliation. At this moment, hearing the boy's voice, many people looked at him mockingly. There's going to be a good show. The second place in our class for physics. I remember that Wang Meng got 131 points in physics this time, right? Yeah, other than Chu Zhixing who got 148 points, the rest of the class is in a slump. Because the third place only had 107 points, Lu Yuanci leaned over and said, "Deskmate, although this is a little embarrassing, you don't want to compete either." "Why don't you?" Before Lu Yuanci could finish, Bei Yunj lazily loosened her tie and looked at him playfully. "Sure." In an instant, Lu Yuanci froze. Chu Zhixing, who was behind him, also looked at Bei Yunj in surprise. The next moment, the class was in an uproar. F***CK, F***CK. What's going on? Is Bei Yunj crazy? She doesn't know her place. Her physics score is just a fraction of Wang Meng's. Tisk, it's all because the guys behind Bei Yunj think she's pretty and keep praising her. You really think of yourself as Master Pei. Hearing these words, Lu Yuanci's gaze turned cold, and he stared at the people who were talking. Ling Jiwei seized the opportunity and deliberately made things difficult for her. Bei Yunj, you're taking up everyone's lunch break. If you don't get this spot, shouldn't you apologize to everyone? Then, if I get this slot, shouldn't everyone apologize to me? Bei Yunj said calmly, as if she didn't feel any pressure at all. However, these words enraged the crowd. Is she still asleep? Let's see if we can get this spot. Do you want us to apologize to her? Suddenly, Ling Jiwei raised her chin and said arrogantly, if you get it, I'll apologize to you on behalf of the whole class. How about that? Sure. Bei Yunj played with the pen in her hand. When she looked up, she was calm and composed. If that's the case, then it's settled. It's just that an apology is too simple and not memorable enough. Ling Jiwei's eyes darkened. She took out a marker pen and wrote a few words. Then, she turned around and showed Bei Yunj. 10 laps around the track. Shout as you run. Everyone within 10 meters can hear you. How about that? Chapter 280. Then, everyone looked at the words on the notebook. There were only 4 words on it. I'm an idiot. Damn, that's a little harsh, but I like it, someone joked. Aya, how can Bei Yunj have the guts to agree to Ling Jiwei's request? She might as well apologize. I've long disliked her. She used to be a disgrace in school, but now she's disgraced outside of school. I wonder who gave her the face. It's good that we can watch the show. It has nothing to do with me anyway. At this moment, Ling Jiwei urged, Bei Yunj, don't tell me you don't dare to do it. Before the physics teacher could see clearly and stop this from happening, Bei Yunj thought for a moment and said slowly. What if someone says that I'm bullying you in school? Everyone burst out laughing. Is this person delusional? She was already fantasizing that she could win. We'll talk about it if you can win. Ling Jiwei couldn't help but sneer and say sharply, if you can win, I'll say anything. Anyway, everyone is willing to do it. All right then. Bei Yunj chuckled, her eyes bright and flamboyant. Lu Yuanxi, who was beside her, elbowed Bei Yunj's arm. What's going on? Wang Meng is a beast. He attends science classes every day. Wasn't she just looking for trouble by competing with Wang Meng? Bei Yunj said calmly, don't worry. Lu Yuanxi was speechless. Don't worry, my ass. Suddenly, Lu Yuanxi interrupted. The young man's low and smooth voice had a unique magnetism. He said in a deep voice, if Bei Yunj loses, I'll take the punishment for her. Hearing this, everyone froze. They didn't expect Lu Yuanxi to be so concerned about this. Lu Yuanxi, she'll definitely lose. Why are you helping her? Ling Jiwei couldn't accept it and said harshly. Everyone knew that she liked Lu Yuanxi. But even if Lu Yuanxi knew that Bei Yunj would lose, he was still willing to jump into the pit. I can't bear to see my desk mate being bullied. Lu Yuanxi said slowly. No. You can't replace him. Ling Jiwei broke down emotionally. How could she let Lu Yuanxi do such a disgraceful thing? Lu Yuanxi sneered, then why can you replace Wang Meng? As soon as he finished speaking, the atmosphere froze. What he said made sense. Suddenly, the person next to Lu Yuanxi poked him and said slowly, I can win. Bei Yunj was also surprised that Lu Yuanxi would say that. You think you can win? Lu Yuanxi couldn't help but curse. Bei Yunj, forget it, this doesn't make sense. Brother Lu, Master Pei can really win. Before Chu Zhixing could compliment him, he felt Lu Yuanxi's cold gaze. It was this fatty Chu who was always bootlicking, causing his deskmate to really think that he could ascend to heaven. Teacher, give me the question. As soon as Bei Yunj finished speaking, she was interrupted by Ling Jiwei. Teacher, I remember that you have a physics question bank. Why don't I choose the question? That would be fairer. This was to prevent teacher Zhao Yi from liking Bei Yunj too much and directly leaking the question to Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, have you thought it through? Teacher Zhao Yi looked at Bei Yunj with a complicated expression. Last time, he had checked Bei Yunj's test paper. Many of the questions that she got right were questions that no one in the grade could get right. If it was just a guess, she was too lucky. Therefore, Teacher Zhao Yi wanted to see if she could participate in the physics competition. Chapter 281. Mr. Zhao really dotes on Bei Yunj. He's still trying to give Bei Yunj a way out at this time. Someone in the audience sneered. I've thought it through. Bei Yunj glanced at the person who had just spoken. However, the girl who accidentally made eye contact with her felt a chill down her spine. Okay. Mr. Zhao walked down the stage and handed the question bank to Ling Jiwei. Miss Ling, you don't have to be so ruthless. When Ling Jiwei thought of the scene where Lu Yuanxi was about to be punished for Bei Yunj, she was so jealous that her face was unrecognizable. How could she listen to him? Teacher Zhao, you've always liked good students. Why is Bei Yunj an exception for you? Ling Jiwei chuckled. Could it be because her family is rich? Ling Jiwei, think before you speak. Don't let your brain become a decoration. Bei Yunj's unhurried voice sounded from the side. This made Ling Jiwei's face turn red. Bei Yunj. Soon, Ling Jiwei adjusted her emotions and sneered. Bei Yunj, I'd like to see how you're going to continue pretending. Ling Jiwei took the question bank and walked up the stage with a cold face. She flipped to the last few pages. A dark look flashed across her eyes and she stopped what she was doing. She had seen the teacher explain this question to Wang Meng when they were in the cram school. He said that the difficulty of this question was beyond the syllabus and that there was no need to pay too much attention to it. Bei Yunj, I'd like to see how many words you can write. Thinking of this, Ling Jiwei's hands moved without hesitation and she wrote down the question in a short while. When Wang Meng saw this, he felt a chill in his heart and his whole body stiffened. The teacher in the cram school had explained this question to him before, but he didn't really understand it. Although he remembered a few steps, he couldn't answer the question completely. Ling Jiwei, Wang Meng called out to Ling Jiwei softly with an embarrassed expression. Ling Jiwei suddenly realized what was going on. Wang Meng wasn't confident that he could answer the question completely. Ling Jiwei also didn't expect this to happen. Fortunately, her opponent was Bai Yunj. She immediately corrected herself. This question is worth 15 marks. Teacher, you can give marks according to the steps. When Zhao Yi saw this question, his expression didn't look too good. Even a senior high school student might not be able to do it. Come on stage and write. Ling Jiwei said with a smile, but her eyes were fixed on Bai Yunj. She couldn't wait to see Bai Yunj slap herself in the face. This time, she was going to make sure that Bai Yunj would never be able to make a comeback. Mud just can't be helped up the wall. Do you think you're so awesome? A short while later. Wang Meng also glanced at Bai Yunj, who was walking onto the stage, and his mood gradually improved. No matter how bad he was at it, he couldn't possibly be worse than Bai Yunj. With this thought in mind, Wang Meng began to write. Bai Yunj glanced at the question and couldn't help but frown. I knew she didn't know how to do it. Lu Yuanxi, who was sitting in his seat, almost couldn't bear to watch this suffocating scene. Brother Lu, don't you think that Master Pei is a little impatient? Chu Zhixing knew best that Bai Yunj wasn't as ignorant and incompetent as she appeared to be. Hearing this, Lu Yuanxi was about to refute when he saw Bai Yunj begin to write slowly. However, she was still writing faster than Wang Meng next door. What is Bai Yunj doing? What is she writing? I'm going to be laughed to death by Bai Yunj. She started writing when she didn't understand? Did anyone in the class understand the question before she started writing? However, no one noticed that Zhao Yi's gaze was already fixed on Bai Yunj's steps. Chapter 282. Xiao Chu, do you know how to answer this question? Seeing that Bai Yunj was in a relaxed state, a strange feeling appeared in Lu Yuanxi's heart. He could not help but lean back and ask. Yes, but it'll take half an hour. Chu Zhixing pinched the pen cap. This question was completely out of line. If he encountered it during the exam, he might give up. After all, he didn't have so much time to spend on such a question. To think that I had expectations for my desk mate just now. Lu Yuanxi couldn't help but take a deep breath. When he saw Bai Yunj writing so freely, he really thought that his desk mate was a hidden genius. You can have expectations. Chu Zhixing looked at Lu Yuanxi with a slightly deep gaze. Ling Jiwei, do you have the steps? Someone couldn't help but ask curiously. Ling Jiwei shook her head. There's only one answer. However, she didn't think that Bai Yunj really knew how to answer it. What kind of joke was this? If Bai Yunj was a big shot in physics, their whole class would be guaranteed admission to Yun University. However, gradually, Wang Meng's expression became worse and worse, and his chalk writing became slower and slower. He had completely forgotten the next step. Why did Wang Meng stop writing? Hearing this, Ling Jiwei subconsciously looked over and saw that he had also written half of the blackboard. Her heart inexplicably tightened. But then, when she turned her head and saw that Bai Yunj had written even less than Wang Meng, he actually put down the chalk. This made Ling Jiwei unconsciously heave a sigh of relief. Teacher, I'm done. Can I come down now? Bai Yunj rubbed the chalk dust between his fingers and unconsciously frowned. Teacher Zhao Yi restrained his face, which was about to distort, and nodded expressionlessly. At the same time, Wang Meng had also written about 7 or 8 questions. Although it was incomplete, it looked more than Bai Yunj's. Teacher, I'm done too, Wang Meng muttered as he wiped his sweat. Come down. Teacher Zhao Yi's tone was confusing. What's wrong? Could it be that Bei Yunj wrote blindly and Wang Meng didn't get it right? Ling Jiwei did not flip through the answers, nor did she expect Bei Yunj to get it right. She said, "Teacher, it's your turn to give the results." After saying this, many people looked at Bei Yunj mockingly as if they were watching a good show. It looks like Bei Yunj is going to be so humiliated that she can't even raise her head. That's right. Everyone in the class couldn't wait to talk about it. Suddenly, Zhao Yi stepped forward and said calmly, "Bei Yunj, come to my office after class. I'll explain the competition process to you." "Ha ha 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 ha, I told you, the quota is definitely." The person who spoke suddenly woke up. "Wait. What did Teacher Zhao say? Did the teacher make a mistake? Bei Yunj got a spot? Why? Teacher, this is not fair." There was a lot of discussion in the classroom. Ling Jiwei also looked embarrassed. She didn't believe Teacher Zhao Yi's words and looked at the answers herself. But when she saw the answers clearly and looked up at Bei Yunj's answers, her face suddenly turned pale. How is this possible? How could Bei Yunj solve this question? Even Wang Meng couldn't solve it. Lu Yuanxi, who was sitting in the back row, also twitched his eyelids. "Little Chu, am I dreaming? Did my deskmate get it right?" "You're not dreaming. It can't be. She holds an iPad every day as if it's a treasure. Could it be that she's studying behind our backs?" Chapter 283. Lu Yuanxi felt that this world was a fantasy. Even that bastard Wang Meng couldn't solve it, but his deskmate could? Chu Zhixing looked at Lu Yuanxi with a complicated gaze. Didn't he realize that every time Bei Yunj played with the iPad, she was reading foreign literature? And this was someone who grew up in country art. Suddenly, Teacher Zhao Yi's face darkened. Quiet. It wasn't until everyone quieted down and looked at him unwillingly that Teacher Zhao Yi walked to the podium. He picked up the chalk and gave Wang Meng and Bei Yunj a score. 6-15. In the next moment, everyone's hearts were stirred up. That's impossible. Wang Meng only got 6 points. How could Bei Yunj get full marks? Am I blind? Could it be that the score was given wrongly? Ling Jiwei, who had remained silent, also looked extremely embarrassed. This was impossible. Bei Yunj was an ignorant and incompetent good-for-nothing. How could she get it right? At this moment, Wang Meng stood up. "Teacher, other teachers have taught me this question before." Hearing Wang Meng's words, everyone's eyes widened. They didn't expect this question to be so difficult. They had already taught it, but they only got 6 points. However, wasn't Wang Meng self-destructing? Then, without waiting for everyone to be puzzled, Wang Meng stared at Bei Yunj and said sinisterly, but her solution was also wrong. The steps that Bei Yunj had written to solve the problem were completely different from the steps that his teacher had mentioned. She could get the answer in 8 steps? How was that possible? Wang Meng's words were like a huge rock that smashed into the calm situation. I knew it. How could she get it right? Teacher Zhao is too much. To think that I used to like him so much. He actually cheated to help Bei Yunj. It must be Bei Yunj who threatened Teacher Zhao. She's the eldest daughter of the Qin family. Have you said enough? Teacher Zhao Yi's expression was ugly. He didn't expect them to have so much malice towards Bei Yunj. We didn't say anything wrong. That's right. Wang Meng already said that this step is wrong. When Teacher Zhao Yi heard this, he laughed. Then why don't you let Wang Meng teach you? Instantly, the noise from earlier had all disappeared. Teacher Zhao Yi took a deep breath and calmed himself down. There's indeed something wrong with this step. Before Ling Jiwei and the others could rejoice, Teacher Zhao Yi spoke again. Where did you learn the knowledge points for graduate students? In an instant, the classroom was so quiet that it was suffocating. What was the teacher saying? Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge? Older brother taught me. Pei Yunj thought for a moment. She couldn't possibly that her mother's teacher and hers's. When she was 6 or 7 years old, Mrs. Pei used this kind of question as addition and subtraction for Pei Yunj to practice. Pei Yunj's casual words made many people feel unbalanced. Which one of Pei Yunj's 3 older brothers wasn't a target of admiration? They were actually teaching Pei Yunj her homework personally. However, what they didn't know was that the person who taught Pei Yunj's homework wasn't the 3 from the Qin family, but the one from the whole group. If this news were to spread, it would probably cause an uproar in Yuncheng. Your brother is really good. Teacher Zhao Yi braced himself and praised her. But what made him feel the most complicated was that one of the Qin siblings dared to teach, and the other actually understood. Chapter 284. Thank you. Pei Yunj naturally agreed on behalf of her brother. That's not fair. Pei Yunj's brother has already taught him. Ling Jiwei slammed the table and stood up angrily. What's so unfair about that? Didn't Wang Meng's teacher learn it before? Lu Yuanci sneered. Chu Zhixing suddenly said, Miss Ling, I remember that you and Wang Meng were in the same physics class. As soon as he finished speaking, Ling Jiwei panicked and denied it. How would I know? Wang Meng has done this question before. However, even though Ling Jiwei denied it, many people still looked at her suspiciously. If she didn't know, how would she have dared to set such a difficult question and be so sure that Wang Meng would know it? In the end, Pei Yunj got the upper hand. TSK, don't play if you can't afford it. Why don't you admit your loss? The boy behind her said disdainfully. That's right. You said that Master Pei bought his way into the class. Aren't you the same? The boy openly brought up the matter of buying a place in the school. Ling Jiwei's face turned red. In the entire 7th class, the number of people who didn't get in through connections could be counted with one hand. Who didn't know about this? Ling Jiwei bit her lip. Under everyone's mocking gazes, she felt wronged and resentful. In the end, she looked at Pei Yunj. You won. What do you want me to say? Ling Jiwei was still hoping that Pei Yunj would let her off. Pei Yunj glanced at Ling Jiwei and suddenly smiled. Why don't we use the words you wrote? As soon as she finished speaking, Ling Jiwei looked at Pei Yunj in disbelief. Her voice was trembling with anger as if she had been humiliated. What did you say? You don't understand? Pei Yunj's tone was lazy and monotonous. Then she suddenly smiled and said considerately, if you can't say it, there's a small blackboard in the back of the class. You can write it down and run with it. When she heard this, Ling Jiwei almost wanted to tear Pei Yunj's face apart. If she really raised that sign, someone would definitely take a picture of her and post it online. Pei Yunj. I know I was wrong. Ling Jiwei took a deep breath and forced herself to say, I can give you money as an apology. Do you think I lack money? Pei Yunj's casual words made the boys in the back row start to whistle casually. Master Pei, you've exploded. Ling Jiwei's face turned green and red. You just have to make things difficult for me. Student Ling, are you planning to go back on your word? Pei Yunj's lips curled up, and his gaze turned slightly cold. She didn't have that kind of compassion. If she was the one who lost now, Ling Jiwei would only go from bad to worse. Ling Jiwei gritted her teeth and finally said, I admit it. Then, she glanced at Lu Yuanci and lay on the table, crying. However, Lu Yuanci did not even look at her. The class representative is quite lucky today. The invigilator and grading teacher for this physics competition is Professor Si Chengyan from Yun University. This is such a good opportunity to get to know a professor from Yunhai University. The moment teacher Zhao Yi finished speaking, the pen in Pei Yunj's hand stopped spinning. Suddenly, Pei Yunj said, Teacher, this competition. I'm not suitable. The examinees and the grading teacher knew each other, so this situation could easily cause misunderstandings. Especially someone like Si Chengyan, who had no control over his mouth. Teacher Zhao Yi was slightly stunned. Then, he smiled at Bei Yunj and said, "I think you're suitable, so you're the most suitable." With that, Teacher Zhao Yi whistled a tune and walked out. Chapter 285. At this moment, everyone had their own thoughts. Almost everyone felt that Bei Yunj suddenly went back on her words because she felt that she couldn't win, so she stopped while she was ahead. However, Ling Jiwei's luck was really bad. She chose a question that her brother had taught her before. She can't always be able to pick up scraps, right? Someone discussed softly. Yeah, I heard that the Year 2 and Year 3 students are participating in this competition. Qin Youjiao from Class 1 signed up and Cheng Zihuai from Class 1 also signed up. F***CK. If Bei Yunj is at the bottom, it'll be too embarrassing. Cheng Zihuai and Qin Youjiao are so sweet and even defeated her in the competition. That's right. Hearing these words, Lu Yuanxi could not help frowning and turned to look at Bei Yunj. "Deskmate, this competition, you don't have to go." Bei Yunj took out a wet towel and wiped her hands slowly. She laughed leisurely. "Of course I'm going. After class." Ling Jiwei was afraid that she would be photographed running with a board. In the end, she really ran 10 laps while shouting. There were also a few boys around who were watching the fun, helping to count and supervise. This made Ling Jiwei cry uncontrollably after running, causing the teacher to think that she had been bullied in school. However, when Ling Jiwei heard this, she could only grit her teeth and say that she was willing to lose a bet with her classmate. In the office, the male teacher could not help asking, "What's wrong with Ling Jiwei from your class?" After class, she went to the field to run 10 laps and even said, those strange words. She lost a bet with someone. Zhao Yi raised his eyebrows. "You weren't there, were you?" The male teacher wanted to say something but hesitated. This kind of thing is not allowed to happen if we are present as teachers. It's not allowed to happen in school, but it happened a lot in the end, Zhao Yi said calmly. Hearing this, the male teacher fell silent. He knew that in a class that Zhao Yi had taught in the past, there was a girl who had committed suicide because of school violence. Therefore, Zhao Yi had always hated this kind of isolation or bullying. If you know the feeling of being bullied, you will know how to restrain yourself. Zhao Yi glanced outside the window at Ling Jiwei, who was out of breath from crying. He sat down again and continued to drink his tea. In fact, there was a reason why he had taken care of Bei Yunj from the beginning. Bei Yunj's interpersonal relationships at school were similar to that of the girl who had jumped off a building because of bullying. However, what he didn't expect was that Bei Yunj was so independent and unaffected by her surroundings. It was even affecting the people in the last few rows. Zhao Yi picked up Bei Yunj's test paper again and looked at the blank questions behind her. He couldn't help but chuckle. Was there a second person with such a personality? The next day, Ling Jiwei did not expect that someone in the school would secretly use their phone to record a video of her. Even her voice had been recorded. When she saw the heated posts on the forum, Ling Jiwei's eyes turned red and she ran to the toilet. Isn't this a classic case of asking for trouble? Someone couldn't help but sneer. Oh right, desk mate, your birthday is in a few days? Lu Yuanxi suddenly asked from behind. Bei Yunj thought for a moment. How did you know? Everyone knows online. Lu Yuanxi was a little speechless. There were actually people who didn't go online these days. Bei Yunj was speechless. Everyone knew that Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao had been swapped. Then it was very likely that they had the same birthday. P.S. Also, be good and remember the monthly ticket. Chapter 286. Have you thought about how to celebrate it? Lu Yuanxi asked. Whatever. Bei Yunj suppressed the emotions in her eyes. In her previous life, Mother Pei was busy with research and Father Pei had his own family. No one remembered her birthday. However, Mother Pei's death anniversary happened to be Bei Yunja's 18th birthday. Back home, Bei Yunj had just walked into the living room when she saw Huashidu sitting in front of his laptop. He was wearing gold-rimmed glasses on his high nose bridge. The man's gaze was cold and light. The two buttons on his collar were loose, revealing the lines of his collarbone. From the side, the man's sexy neckline was outlined in his abstinent and lazy white shirt. Refined scum. After the first thought appeared in Bei Yunja's mind, she could not help but take out her phone and take a photo of this scene. However, perhaps because she was taking the photo seriously, Bei Yunj suddenly saw the man looking away casually from her phone. The man's posture was frivolous and ostentatious. The corners of his upturned eyes were even more seductive. His low laughter carried a magnetic and lustful aura, making one's face burn red. "Yun, what are you doing?" For some reason, Bei Yunj pressed the photo button again. For a moment, Bei Yunj had not thought of what to say. However, her actions were also very obvious. "Are you secretly taking photos of me?" The man's tone was casual and joking. His eyes were extremely dark and he looked a little lazy. He hooked his finger at her. "Yun, come here." Bei Yunj walked closer to him and sat by the sofa. The next moment, the man pinched her cheek. His deep and magnetic voice was filled with a smile. There was a hint of ambiguity and intimacy in it. "Come closer and take a photo." "I don't mind." Bei Yunj put her phone into her pocket in front of Huashidu. It was obvious that she did not want to show Huashidu the photo she had taken just now. "Are you working?" Bei Yunj changed the topic. "I work every day." Huashidu looked at the child in front of him and chuckled. He said unhurriedly, "Otherwise, how am I going to raise you?" Suddenly, the words that Yumanran had said last time flashed through Bei Yunja's mind. "Brother, you're not dating?" Bei Yunj asked calmly, but his eyes fell on him. "It won't be too late to wait another 3 to 5 years." Huashidu continued to browse through the documents and spoke slowly. "Bei Yunj. Why? Listen to Yen." Huashidu's gaze suddenly landed on Bei Yunj. He rubbed her head as a punishment. His deep and lazy voice sounded a little amused. "What's the reason? Did Yun hear what old madam said and also urge brother?" Huashidu knew that this child rarely asked about other people's matters. The fact that she could ask him this question probably meant that the old lady had said something to her. Bei Yunj said kindly, "This is a form of concern. I hope you'll be well. If Yun can get first place, I'll do anything." Bei Yunj, this man really didn't intend to fall in love. "Brother, do you have someone you like?" Huashidu felt that the little girl today was a little strange, but he still answered patiently. No. He had never liked trouble. However, when Bei Yunj heard this, she felt an inexplicable joy. She didn't even notice that the corners of her lips were curled up. "Brother, I'll go upstairs first." Bei Yunj went upstairs very quickly. Then, she came down with her homework. Bored, she propped her chin up and sat beside Huashidu to do her homework. Chapter 287. Aunt Meow, who had just returned, could not help but cover her mouth and laugh as she walked to the kitchen. Midnight. Everything was silent as the summer night breeze gently brushed past every inch of the ground. In the bedroom, a cell phone suddenly rang. Not long after, a cold and fair hand picked up the phone on the table and answered the call. "What's the matter?" Perhaps Bei Yunja's tone was too impatient. Even those who were far away in our nation could guess what she meant. "Miss Pei, I'm Delaney." "Good morning." The moment Delaney finished speaking, Bei Yunj hung up without saying a word. She turned off her phone and threw it on the table. At this moment, Bei Yunj frowned slightly. Even with her eyes closed, she could feel her hostility. Our nation. Delaney, who was hung up on, widened his eyes in disbelief. Son, your teacher's temper is too bad. How can you tolerate her? Delaney did not feel any psychological burden at all when he spoke ill of others behind their backs. Titch was speechless. Then you're still hugging her thigh and would rather add 100 million to make that ancestor happy. Dad. Delaney turned on his phone and showed Country A's time to Delaney. You should pray that teacher won't blacklist you when she wakes up. Delaney's eyes almost popped out when he saw the time. 2:00 in the morning. Wasn't the difference in time a little too big? Titch looked at his father with pity. When the time comes, even if you give me another billion, it'll be difficult to make my teacher happy. Titch, who had attended classes with Bei Yunj for a period of time, knew Bei Yunj's temper very well. She was hard to understand, hard to coax, and hard to get close to. Delaney's face turned green. He did not dare to vent his anger on Bei Yunj and quickly changed his target. It's all because of your dog uncle. He insisted on messing with some game company. Now that there's a bug that can't be fixed, he's pestering me to get help. Then you'd better send a message to teacher. Don't disturb her. Titch was very respectful and considerate. This made Delaney suspect that he had raised a family thief. Morning. Bei Yunj was on her way to the hospital to visit Old Master. She glanced at the message Delaney had sent a few hours ago. He caught a glimpse of a few keywords. Maps of the Gods, bug. Bei Yunj remembered that the game Lu Yuanci had given her last time was also called Maps of the Gods. However, one was a mobile game, while the other was an online game. Then, Bei Yunj put the phone back into her pocket without thinking too much. At the door of the ward. Before Bei Yunj entered the house, she could already hear the old man scolding someone inside. His voice was full of energy. He had recovered well. I told you to find a proper career, but you insisted on being an esports player. What was this? You don't do proper work. Old Master Qin was both angry and heartbroken. Back then, he did not agree to Qin Lang's involvement in esports, but he was also afraid that he would imitate Qin Yu and simply leave home. That was why he turned a blind eye to it. But now, Qin Lang had lost a lot of weight for the competition. In the end, this competition was delayed indefinitely because of the game itself. Old Master, don't scold Ah Lang anymore. The game will be fixed. Don't be angry. The beautiful woman sitting by the chair had a noble and arrogant expression on her face. She looked a little like Mrs. Qin. This was Mrs. Qin's younger sister, Tong Yuefan. A few years ago, her husband died in an accident and she remarried to the richest man in Jin City with the surname Lei. By the way, when is my sister coming over? A trace of ridicule flashed past Mrs. Lei's eyes. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly ticket. Chapter 288. Old Master Qin frowned without batting an eyelid. He roughly knew the deep grudge between this pair of sisters. She'll only return to Yuncheng in 2 days. Hearing this, Mrs. Lei peeled an orange with a smile. The smile on her lips could not be hidden. Don't tell me she's still with that adopted daughter who isn't related by blood? I don't know what sister is thinking. She's not her child, why is she so concerned? Madame Lei's tone made people feel uncomfortable. However, Old Master Qin did not think that there was anything wrong with her words. However, next, Mrs. Lei stepped on Old Master Qin's bottom line and acted presumptuously. But actually, it's understandable. She gave birth to a daughter and can't do anything. Sister is so headstrong, how can she accept it? Mrs. Lei turned around and said to Old Master Qin with a smile, "Oh right, my husband has a younger brother. Although he's a little old, there's nothing wrong with him. Why don't you let our Yunj try?" With that said, Qin Lang, who had been silent and scrolling through the news, had his eyes cold. The corners of his lips curled into a cold arc. Auntie should try it herself. That person surnamed Lei's younger brother was a good-for-nothing who was almost 30 years old. No one in the industry was willing to marry him, but this woman actually had designs on Bei Yunj. Aren't they even closer? Anyway, with Yunja's results, she probably won't be able to study for more than a few years, right? Mrs. Lei had already made up her mind to matchmake Bei Yunj and her brother-in-law. If she succeeded, her husband would think more highly of her. No matter what, my Gu is the only girl in the Qin family. Even if she doesn't get married, as her older brother, I have the ability to support her. Qin Lang's eyes were distant and cold. No wonder this Mrs. Lei came to Yuncheng immediately after hearing the news. So she still had such thoughts. How can she not get married? Mrs. Lei said with a smile, "Ah Lang, my husband's company is also the partner of the local division of your game. If Yunj marries over, everyone will be envious." Similarly, Mrs. Lei could not help feeling sarcastic. Bei Yunj could not compare to Qin Youjiao in any way. Even as the elder young miss of the Qin family, she was not presentable at all. She was more than enough to marry her brother-in-law. This Qin family even treated Bei Yunj as a treasure. Suddenly, Qin Lang's tone also became gentler. "In that case, Madam Lei, why don't you marry your precious daughter over? Wouldn't this solidify your position as Madam Lei?" Qin Lang. What nonsense are you talking about? Madam Lei's expression changed. The daughter Qin Lang was talking about was the daughter of Madam Lei and her late husband. What? You can't bear to part with your own, yet you insist on touching the treasures of others? Qin Lang had a spurious smile on his face, and his handsome eyes were arrogant, lazy, and carried slight coldness. Beside him, old Master Qin pretended not to hear anything and let Qin Lang do whatever he wanted. Madam Lei's face was ashen. Before she could open her mouth, she was suddenly interrupted by a clear voice. "Grandpa, I brought you some shredded chicken porridge," Bei Yunj said slowly. At this very moment, Madam Lei turned her head and saw the girl who was walking in from the door. She had black hair and red lips, looking bright and languid. She was so beautiful that he couldn't take his eyes off her. Madam Lei clenched her fists, displeasure rising in her heart. She didn't expect President Bei Yunj to be like this. No wonder the men of the Qin family liked her. Although she looked a little similar to Mrs. Qin, the person in front of her looked like a little vixen. This must be Yunj, right? Chapter 289. Mrs. Lei said with a smile, "You're really pretty. Gu, why did you come here so early in the morning? How tiring is it? Come later next time. Don't young people like to sleep more?" Old Master Qin's expression was gentle and loving. Bei Yunj ignored Mrs. Lei beside her and sat down to open the porridge box for Old Master Qin. "It's all because our old master is picky and doesn't like to eat anything." "I didn't say that." Old Master Qin refused to admit it, but he quickly picked up the spoon and drank the porridge made by Aunt Meow. However, at this moment, Mrs. Lei's expression was exceptionally ugly. How could she not know that this family was deliberately ignoring her? Suddenly, Mrs. Lei said gently, "Yunj, do you have any plans for the future? Actually, Auntie's husband has a younger brother. Auntie thinks that he's very compatible with you." "Auntie," Bei Yunj suddenly said. Mrs. Lei's expression became even gentler. Although the Qin family was stubborn, she did not believe that a little girl would be able to win against her. "What's wrong, Yunj?" "Auntie, there's no need to be too anxious." Bei Yunja's first sentence sounded refined and polite, but then she laughed lazily. "Those who don't know would think that you don't have much time left and are afraid that you won't be able to make it for my wedding." In an instant, the atmosphere gradually turned cold. Mrs. Lei's face turned red and green. Her well-maintained face was slightly distorted. What did she mean? Was she cursing her that she was about to die? Was that why she was so anxious about her marriage? Yunj, is this how you speak to your elders? Mrs. Lei glared at Bei Yunj angrily. This Bei Yunj was completely different from Mrs. Qin. What a troublemaker. Auntie, don't think too much. I'm just being honest because I treat you as family. Bei Yunj's tone was lazy and the arrogance in her eyes was not restrained at all. Mrs. Lei was so angry that her expression turned even uglier. Was this what she meant by being honest? Why didn't she just ask her when she would die? Old master, don't you think your child has too much to teach? Madame Lei put on a fake smile. She was just short of pointing at Bei Yunj and saying that she had no manners. Madame Lei, you're thinking too much. Children nowadays are all like this. They're so straightforward and cute, old Master Qin said protectively. When Qin Lang saw this, his shoulders trembled uncontrollably as he tried hard to hold back his laughter. If he were in Gu Er's shoes, the old man would have started scolding him long ago. It was a pity. Madame Lei insisted on stepping on the old man's bottom line. Madame Lei looked embarrassed, but in the end, when she thought of the purpose of her visit, Bei Yunj was not the most important, she endured it. She took a deep breath and changed the topic, trying her best to squeeze out a smile. Old master, you haven't seen Yaya in a long time, right? What happened? A few days ago, I just settled the school transfer procedures for Yaya. From now on, she'll be in the same school as Yunj. Mrs. Lei was a calculative fox. The high school in Jin City was not bad. She must have a motive for transferring Leia to Hengda High School. I see. Old Master Qin nodded. That's right. Seeing that Old Master Qin did not intend to ask further, Madame Lei's expression froze before she said with a smile, then, why don't this child be Yunja's companion in the future? If she was by Qin Youjiao's side, she would still be worried that her daughter would be inferior. However, since it was Bei Yunj, there was no need to worry. Chapter 290. No, Gu doesn't like it. Old Master Qin rejected him without even thinking about it. What a joke. She wanted to stay with Gu Was she treating Huashidu's house as a hotel? Mrs. Lei's expression froze before she persuaded, Yaya's results are not bad. She can tutor Yunj. Besides, Yaya knows many friends and teachers. She can bring Yunj along to broaden her horizons. Speaking of which, Lang should know how popular Yaya is online, right? She's a female gaming streamer and has a lot of fans. Qin Lang raised his eyelids. Indeed, he knew how popular Leia was. Leia was good-looking and her gaming skills stood out among the gaming streamers. She even made the headlines a while ago. She had almost 3 to 4 million fans. However, Leia had been thinking of ways to enter their club. However, Qin Lang's club did not recruit girls. Our Yaya is good at everything. It's not a bad thing to let Yunj learn from her. Mrs. Lei's tone was naturally filled with a sense of superiority. On the other hand, Bei Yunj was sitting under the window, leaning against the pear-blossom wooden chair lazily as she glanced at the message. She realized that Delaney had sent her a message again. Teacher Pei, our fees are negotiable. Can you give me a chance? It was not that Delaney was too humble. Usually, scientific researchers like him would rarely take on such private jobs. Besides, the person he was looking for now was Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj replied to Delaney with a no, and put her phone in her pocket. Suddenly. Your elders are here and you're still playing with your phone? I wonder who's so important. Mrs. Lei's tone was a little disdainful. People like Bei Yunj only knew a group of scum in society. Grandpa, I have something on, so I'll go back first. Bei Yunj did not look at Mrs. Lei and walked out. What's going on? Mrs. Lei could not help gritting her teeth and whispering. At the front desk. Bei Yunj knocked on the table with her slender and beautiful index finger and said with a smile, Nurse, someone is harassing a patient in Ward 306. Can you help clear the place? Soon. Mrs. Lei was told by the nurse that the patient needed more rest and asked to leave immediately. Madame Lei, who was chased downstairs, was livid. She called Leia. "Mom, what's wrong?" A very cold female voice rang out. "Yaya, those people in the Qin family don't agree to you staying in the Qin family," Madame Lei said angrily. He didn't know why those people from the Qin clan were so arrogant. Could it be that their Lei clan was no match for the Qin clan? Leia was silent for a moment. "It's okay. It's enough that I can enter Hengda. Yaya, you have to help your father." Because of the loophole in the game, he was very busy. "It would be best if you could ask Cheng Zihuai for a favor. Anyway, he's now at the top computing institute in the country." Madame Lei's smile was thick, but her thoughts were not limited to this. When the Qin and Cheng families wanted to get engaged, Qin Youjiao was the most recognized socialite in the industry, so of course she had nothing to say. But now that Qin Youjiao had fallen, a Bei Yunj who couldn't be helped came in. Of course, she wanted her daughter to fight for it. No matter what, this was much better than Bei Yunj. "Okay, I understand. Yaya, this time, whether or not we can surpass your aunt is all up to you. Don't give Bei Yunj a chance to stand out." Chapter 291. At this moment, Leia's voice became even colder, with a hint of arrogance and annoyance. "Mother, do you know who you're comparing to me?" All right. Mother won't say any more. "How can she compare to you?" Madame Lei couldn't stop smiling. Early in the morning, Bei Yunj received another international call. She looked at the unknown number displayed and suppressed her anger. Her pair of excessively beautiful eyes were slightly red and cold. She sat in front of the computer and immediately wrote a program. A few minutes later, she programmed the program into her phone and pulled Huashidu and Old Master Qin's phone numbers into the whitelist. As for the others, they would automatically hang up their messages during special times. After she was done, Bei Yunj went to bed without thinking. Delaney's cousin called him, feeling wronged. "Brother, Miss Pei isn't picking up my call." Hearing this, Delaney's body trembled. He felt a sense of déjà vu. He suppressed his temper and said, "Can you pay attention to other people's time? Don't you have a brain?" If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have given him Bei Yunj's private number. If he angered Bei Yunj, who would he ask for help? His cousin was speechless from the scolding. In the past, when he had meetings with the people from the branch, he had always used his time as the standard. How could he change this all of a sudden? "Anyway, I've already given you her phone number. Whether or not you can hook up with her will depend on your own ability." Speaking of this, Delaney muttered, "If he wasn't my son and was her student, he wouldn't have been able to get her private number. Do you understand?" His cousin was speechless. "I understand. Are you done showing off? If you're done showing off, can you do me a favor?" The next day, Bei Yunj woke up early in the morning. It was still because of the continuous ringtone from yesterday that affected her sleep quality. Huashidu had just put down the newspaper when he saw Bei Yunj sitting at the dining table and playing with her phone. She looked like she was immersed in her own world. Seeing this, the man slowly pulled out a chair and sat beside Bei Yunj. On the other hand, Bei Yunj was still throwing documents to Jian Shi to let her understand what she meant just now. Meanwhile, the man's slender hand picked up Bei Yunj's porridge and slowly scooped it up. Before Bei Yunj could react, she suddenly smelled the strong aroma of porridge on her lips. "Yun?" The man's low and lazy voice sounded slowly. As soon as Bei Yunj opened her mouth, the man gently fed her a mouthful of porridge. Bei Yunj, this kind of feeding behavior had only happened to Bei Yunj before she was 3 years old. "Does it taste good?" The man's elegant and noble eyebrows were pleasing to the eye, and his tone was somewhat cynical. "Big brother saw that you were so engrossed that he didn't want to wake you up. Bei Yunj looked at the man in front of her who was smiling beautifully and could not lose her temper. She could only take the porridge from his hand and slowly drink it herself. Seeing this scene, Aunt Miao, who had just brought over a plate of side dishes, tried her best to suppress the smile on her lips. Youngsters these days were really romantic. Bei Yunj, who felt Aunt Miao's motherly gaze, was speechless. Hungda. The moment Bei Yunj entered, she felt that the boys in the class seemed to have wilted and were extremely silent. Even Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing were the same. Chapter 292. What's wrong? Bei Yunj returned to her seat while chewing on her candy. Maps of the Gods is on the headlines. Did you see it? Lu Yuanxi asked. No. Bei Yunj's reply was concise. As a gamer, why don't you care about it? Lu Yuanxi did not agree. Bei Yunj, she had removed the logo of the game because she thought it was too ugly. However, Bei Yunj did not intend to say this. Is it a bug? It's not something that can't be solved. Just find someone to fix it. Bei Yunj did not think much of it. Previously, Bei Yunj did not want to take on the job because it did not require much skill. How can it be so easy to control? All the servers are closed now. I heard from the insiders that the bugs are very serious. They are fixed one after another like a bottomless pit. However, some time ago, a guru in the industry discovered it long ago, but the gaming department did not take it seriously and did not admit that there were bugs. Now that the matter has been exposed, the game is full of cheats. Lu Yuanxi was also a little disappointed. For most people, gaming and youth were inseparable. If this game was stopped, which game in the future could guarantee that it would be as good as Maps of the Gods? The gaming department did not do anything. The game skins appear every day, and no one cares about the bugs. Chu Zhixing was also unusually irritable. Bei Yunj did not say anything. She just picked up her iPad. Then, the boys in the row behind also came over and said, however, the gaming department is also taking this matter seriously now. They spent a lot of money to hire technicians to fix it. Why didn't this matter be posted? Ordinary people can't fix it. The higher-ups are watching the technicians and thinking of ways to poach them to fix it. Hearing this, Bei Yunj's fingers stopped moving. She quickly continued with her work. If I find out who can fix it, I will tie him up and fix it. Lu Yuanxi was especially domineering. Bei Yunj glanced at him expressionlessly. This glance made Lu Yuanxi feel an inexplicable chill. Deskmate, are you in a bad mood? Lu Yuanxi lowered his voice. No. Lu Yuanxi, then why did you look like you wanted to fight with me just now? Grade 12 Class 1. A tall girl with cold eyes stood at the door. Leia, why are you looking for me? Cheng Zihuai asked as soon as he came out. Rhea quickly smiled. Do you have time to take a walk downstairs with me? Hearing this, Cheng Zihuai glanced at Leia and did not refuse. Downstairs, by the flower bed. I haven't seen you in a few years. You've grown a lot taller. Cheng Zihuai was also very gentle. I thought that you didn't recognize me. Yes, it's so good that I can't recognize it. Cheng Zihuai smiled and said, you must be looking for me for something, right? Yes, there's something I need your help with. I don't know if it's possible. Leia suppressed the joy in her heart and blushed unnaturally. As for the people watching from afar, they didn't know who to envy. Goddess Lei was famous for being cold and aloof in the esports scene. Who would have thought that she would be so shy? However, everyone saw how outstanding Cheng Zihuai was. What a perfect match. Tell me, what is it? Of course, I will help you if I can. Hearing Cheng Zihuai's words, Leia could not help but smile and look up at him. My stepfather is the person in charge of the game branch of Maps of the Gods. About the bug this time, you should have heard about it. So, I want to ask you for a favor. Chapter 293. But I don't have this technology either. Cheng Zihuai froze for a moment. He did not expect Leia to do this. Zihuai, I know you're at the Computing Institute. Can you help me ask who's willing to help? If this matter gets any worse, our family will be in trouble. With that said, Leia bit her lip. Hearing this, Cheng Zihuai knew why Leia was looking for him. As an intern, he did have the chance to come into contact with official members, but for them to give him face, this was a little difficult. I can help you ask, but they probably won't be willing to get involved in such matters. Cheng Zihuai's eyes were filled with helplessness. I understand. Thank you, Zihuai. Hearing this, Leia heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. At noon, Leia returned to class in a good mood and saw more than 10 letters on the table. Hiding the impatience in her eyes, she stuffed the things into the drawer casually. That must be Leia, right? She's so elegant. Of course. The number one beauty in the God Circle, don't you think she's pretty? The boy giggled. God Circle was the abbreviation for the Maps of the Gods Gaming Circle. She's just a so-so. Anyway, it's not like I haven't seen that person from Class 7 before, the girl pouted and said sourly. Hearing this, Leia froze. Class 7. Coincidentally, she also knew that there was someone in Class 7. Leia hid the darkness in her eyes and put on her earphones, not thinking about this anymore. That person in Class 7 is a goddess, but only a goddess, the boy said with a sigh. If that person had the ability to be slightly beautiful, she would be someone that people could not take their eyes off. Unfortunately, the heavens were fair. There were gains and losses. This was a principle that would never change. After school. After Leia told Madame Lei that Cheng Zihuai had agreed, Madame Lei happily called Mr. Lei and received his approval. Yaya, did you meet Bai Yunj today? Mrs. Lei asked. Leia's expression darkened and she closed her eyes, annoyed to hear this name. I didn't notice. Qi Nyojiao had the ability to compete with her, but what did Bai Yunj have to compare to her? So what if she had the Qin family behind her? The Lei family's development was not much worse than the Qin family. I heard that her results are not good and she even signed up for a physics competition. Yaya, why don't you go and sign up for one too? Madame Lei's smile deepened. I remember that our Yaya won second place in the International Physics Raphael competition. Whatever. Leia did not mind. She was just taking part in another competition. She had never lost in a physics competition since she was young. That's good. I'll tell the grade director now. At the Computing Institute. Si Chengyan had some impression of Cheng Zihuai. His talent was not bad, but he could barely do research. You want me to help you fix S? S have teat I'm st. Si Chengyan touched the back of his head and yawned lazily. Only the two of us are good at covering a wide area. They should know how to fix this thing. Moreover, there was one more that they didn't have. Who? Cheng Zihuai's eyes moved. One is our omnipotent inspector, and the other. Si Chengyan paused. Yes? Cheng Zihuai asked instinctively, but his hands were clenched tightly. Hearing this, Si Chengyan was also very surprised that Cheng Zihuai knew this name. But he had to know who this person was. Chapter 294. She was probably going crazy. Si Chengyan thought to himself. Yes, but she's not ours for the time being. Si Chengyan smiled. He was just short of saying, but we're about to get her. If you want someone to help, the inspector won't do. He hates things like gaming competitions the most. As for... Si Chengyan braced himself and said, there's a slight possibility, but there's not much hope. With Bai Yunja's temper, she didn't even like the Delaney Corporation, let alone a gaming company. Then can you give me a way to contact her? Cheng Zihuai hid the dark glint in his eyes. I don't dare to provoke that ancestor. Si Chengyan spread out his hands in surrender. That's also our treasure. If you want to try, I can bring you a message. When Cheng Zihuai heard this, he did not expect that the Computing Institute would be so secretive about their work. It was obvious how much the Computing Institute treasured this person. Okay, sorry to trouble you, Professor C. Class 7. Look at the headlines. It's all over the place. The boy took out his cell phone and a few people around him jumped over to take a look. Hashtag maps of the gods disappointment hashtag maps of the gods bug cheat hashtag esports winter hashtag a good game is getting worse and worse. Someone couldn't help but despise. The branch just issued a statement saying that they've asked the headquarters for help. Back then, they said that it was just a slight bug. Now, the game has been stopped for half a month and even the competition has been delayed. My cousin is still a professional player. I don't know what to do now. At this point, many people looked at Bei Yunj, who was sleeping on the table. Master Pei is so magnanimous. She's not worried about her third brother at all. Someone sighed. What's there to worry about? Worried that he'll retire early and go home to inherit billions of assets? Everyone was speechless. Sorry to disturb this damn rich person. Suddenly. Master Pei, Brother Lu is calling for you. The court is short of manpower. The boy leaned against the door and shouted softly. I'm not going. Bei Yunj lazily propped her head up and yawned. Her eyes were red, but she was much more amiable than usual. Brother Lu said that if you win, Master Pei, this week's homework will be his. As soon as he finished speaking, the originally tired person suddenly stood up. Master Pei, you? The boy was shocked. It just so happens that I haven't done my homework today. Bei Yunja's gaze was languid. Her high-spirited eyebrows seemed to be glowing, making it hard for people to look away. She smiled. He had an unbridled youthful aura. Walking on the long corridor, Leia heard the boys talking excitedly. Let's go and watch the school belle play basketball. The campus belle knows how to play basketball. Let's not talk about it anymore. The school team from Class 1 just collapsed. It's Brother Lu's turn to fight with the school belle. Hearing these discussions, Leia's eyes flickered, and she subconsciously walked toward the field. Qin Youjiao was back so soon. She knows how to play. The sun was high in the sky. The green shadows on the sports field were mottled. The sunlight was just right, but the bright and beautiful one was a youth like the wind. Bei Yunj, are you that good at basketball? A thin layer of sweat appeared on Lu Yuanxi's forehead. He had a vague feeling that he was going to inherit his deskmate's homework today. Before today, he would never have thought that his deskmate, who looked as pretty as a porcelain doll, could actually play basketball. I learned a little from a friend. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and chuckled. There's still one more round. Student Lu, do you want to continue? At this moment, Leia, who had just walked to the basketball court, could not help but stiffen when she saw Bei Yunja's face clearly. Her legs seemed to be filled with lead and she could not move. P.S. Be good and remember your monthly votes. Chapter 295. It wasn't Qin Youjiao. An inexplicable emotion suddenly surged in Leia's heart and she asked casually. What's the name of that girl playing basketball? As she spoke, Leia stared fixedly at the person on the basketball court. Bei Yunj from Year 2 Class 7. Isn't she beautiful? A young boy smiled and scratched his head shyly. Senior Pei is very famous in our district's high school. Because she's good-looking, people from other schools often come to take a look secretly. Leia stared fixedly at Bei Yunj, her gaze turning colder. She had never thought that Bei Yunj would look like this. She did not look like the cowardly and brainless person in the rumors at all. Senior, you're Lei. Yeah, right? The boy's eyes widened. He had just recognized her when Leia turned around and left. On the way, she bumped into Cheng Zihuai. I heard that Bei Yunj used to pester you. Leia could not help asking when she saw Cheng Zihuai. In the past, she only treated it as a joke. After all, Cheng Zihuai would not be pestered by ordinary girls. But now, hearing this, Cheng Zihuai frowned and his voice turned cold. Why are you mentioning her? After that, Leia had yet to think of what to say. She had just seen Bei Yunj when she heard him say, "It's impossible for me to like that kind of self-righteous, ignorant and incompetent woman." Ignorant and incompetent? Leia's eyes flickered and she said slowly, "She looks not bad." Apart from that face, how is she not bad? Cheng Zihuai's tone was mocking, but he quickly changed the topic. I've asked the Computing Institute for you. Only 2 members can help. Professor C, who I know, is currently in contact. Really? Thank you, Zihuai. Leia's eyebrows relaxed and she smiled. Now that the Lei family was a nouveau riche, they had the momentum to be on par with the Qin family. However, if this matter was not handled well, it would be serious. I hope she can help. Cheng Zihuai smiled and caressed her head. After school. Before Leia left school, she received a call from Mrs. Lei. Mom, what's wrong? Leia could not live stream during this period of time and her eyes were filled with coldness and irritation. Yaya, something happened at your father's company again. I have a favor to ask of you. Leia stopped in her tracks. How? The maps of the gods have been in the headlines for a long time. Yaya, I heard from the dean that Bei Yunj ranked last in the monthly test. I suggested to your father that we use Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao's monthly exam as a gimmick to block the hot searches for us. He agreed. Hearing Mrs. Lei's words, Leia frowned unhappily. Can't you just find an artist to release the material? Leia would never do such a thing. That won't do. He's so secretive about the current celebrities. Where would your father find the time to dig them out? If the headquarters were to find out that your father's branch is in such a mess, he would definitely be finished. Madame Lei pleaded anxiously, Yaya, please help your father with this. Hearing that, Leia pursed her lips and looked at the results list not far away. Frustration rose in her heart. She didn't want to get involved in this mess. I know. But, are you sure you can really suppress it? Last month, the Qin family's trending topic was almost the same as the current A-list celebrities. The matter of the Qin family's real and fake young lady has always been a hot topic. Hearing Mrs. Lei say this, Leia pursed her lips and had no choice but to walk towards the results list. Chapter 296. Leia waited until there were fewer people in school before she quickly took a few photos of Qin Youjiao and Bei Yunja's results and rankings. However, unfortunately, Chu Zhixing happened to see Leia acting suspiciously. He did not know what she was doing. Chu Zhixing walked in front of the grade list and thought for a moment. However, he did not expect this matter to involve Bei Yunj. After all, Chu Zhixing did not know about the relationship between Bei Yunj and Leia. Bei Yunj, who had just returned home, glanced at the headlines out of nowhere. The top 3 rankings were all trending topics related to the maps of the gods. She clicked on them and saw that they were all analysis posts about the improper management of the game branch. Bei Yunj looked at it for a few minutes before she turned off her phone and threw it on the bed casually before she went to take a shower. When she was done showering, drying her hair, and coming out to drink water with her phone, she saw several messages. One was from Si Chengyan. The other was from an unknown number. The other 2 were from Chu Zhixing. Bei Yunj clicked on the message sent by Chu Zhixing first. Picture, Master Pei, you're in the headlines again. By the way, Master Pei, I saw what Leia took in front of the grade list today. Do you know her? Could she have done this? Bei Yunj clicked on the screenshot sent by Chu Zhixing. The headlines about the game branch she had seen before had all been taken down. Instead, it was her and Qin Youjiao's monthly exam results. The parent-teacher conference had already passed and this had only happened now. Someone was indeed using her to take the bullet. After Bei Yunj replied to Chu Zhixing, she walked to the computer and checked a few marketing accounts that had taken the lead in exposing the news. Coincidentally, these were all accounts supported by Lei's corporation. Seeing this, Bei Yunj chuckled slowly. Her eyes were bright and lazy, exuding coldness. How dare they? They even dared to use her as a shield. A moment later, Bei Yunj locked onto those marketing accounts and lazily started to organize the evidence of the artistes that the Lei Corporation had used to take the bullet. 20 minutes later, Bei Yunj uploaded a screenshot of the evidence using the marketing account that had used her as a shield. As expected. A few minutes later, the Lei conglomerate and maps of the gods' negative comments jumped to the top. He quickly suppressed Bei Yunj's entry. The number of posts posted was even more than Bei Yunj's post. It was a spectacular and exciting scene for fans of more than 10 popular artists to tear Lei's apart. Lei Corporation, a question every day. Is CEO Lei doing something wrong today? Cute, you're amazing. You're even releasing fake information about your artists when something happened to the game branch? I hope that Lei's group will go bankrupt as soon as possible. F***ck, it's scary when I think about it. Could it be that the headlines in Bei Yunj just now were also, Qin Yu crushed Qin Lang Qin Corporation, come and fight? Not long after. The Qin Group reposted a post from a netizen. Qin Group, #wishlist of the month #kiss, Little Qin has received your wishlist. Little Qin will work hard. Did Lei's go bankrupt today? Did Lei's go bankrupt today? No, smile, soon. The Qin Group also made the headlines. Ha 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 ha, Qin Group, give the editor an extra drumstick. This is too good. F***ck, is the Qin Group so cute and rich? Fulfilling 10 wishes for fans every month? I love it. Previously, someone even compared the Qin Group to the Lei Corporation. Is the Lei Corporation worthy of Father Qin? Chapter 297. The Lei Corporation and the Qin Corporation seem to be related. It's said that Madame Lei and Madame Qin are biological sisters. This is even more disgusting. She even used her niece to block the bullet. I'm vomiting. Father Qin, charge. There's only half a year left on the Lei Corporation's contract. Get the rights to operate the game branch. The farce online had yet to end. Bei Yunj also saw that the Lei Corporation and the maps of the gods had made the headlines again. She turned off her computer and remembered that she had not read the messages from 2 people. However, Bei Yunj did not expect that when she turned on her phone, she would see 2 people asking her if she wanted to help fix the bug in the maps of the gods. One was Si Chengyan, and the other was the founder of the Maps of the Gods gaming company. She narrowed her eyes and replied unhurriedly. Our nation. What's going on? Why did she reject me? I haven't discussed the remuneration with her yet. The little cousin was extremely anxious. Isn't it reasonable for you to be rejected? Delaney said leisurely as he sat in front of his desk. The little cousin? She's already giving you face by not messing with you, brother, Delaney said faintly. Why? The little cousin was puzzled. He had not offended this Miss Pei. Your gaming branch used Miss Pei to block the bullet in order to block the trending headlines yesterday. The handsome man's face was about to contort. He was so angry that his face turned black. He wished he could go to Country A and strangle the person in charge of the branch. He was licking his face and begging outside. Did this dog know what he was doing? Were they sent by the other party? Miss Pei, is that why you're angry? The little cousin did not dare to face that big boss. Not many people who engaged in scientific research had a normal temper. Miss Pei seems to have dug out the dirt on the person in charge of your branch and sent it to the headlines. The little cousin shuddered. So ruthless. If you want her help, you have to solve the problem of your branch. However, even if you solve it, Miss Pei might not help you, Delaney told the truth. He was even more envious of his son now. At least Bai Yunj had some patience with his students. To them, there was only endless oppression and indifference. But this problem still has to be solved. Back then, when I heard the Lei family's nonsense, I really thought they would do it. I didn't expect them to only know how to make money. He took a deep breath, his expression extremely ugly. If he didn't change the Lei Corporation this time, it would be a waste of his hair that he had been working so hard for the past few days. Perhaps, you can try the Qin family. Delaney suddenly said faintly. Why? Miss Pei is the eldest daughter of the Qin family. Delaney smiled at him. Little cousin, what a cunning old fox. Lei family. Lei Guofeng's expression turned ugly. He slammed the table and sneered. You guys are really something. I told you guys to leak other people's information, but you guys even leaked your own information. President Lei, it really wasn't done by our internal staff. Yeah, Xiao Jia called me yesterday and said that he couldn't log into the account. In the end, after about 10 minutes, that account was manipulated and started to leak information about us. Who would have thought that after doing this for so many years, the boat would fail today? So someone is deliberately going against us? Lei Guofeng's expression was terrible. Yes, President Lei, could this be done by the Qin family? Chapter 298. As soon as he finished speaking, there was silence. Due to the impact of this matter, their company's operations were already facing some problems. Furthermore, the one opposing them now was most likely the Qin family. The Lei family was new. Although they looked impressive on the surface, the Qin family had a background that the Lei family could not compare to. Lei Guofeng's face darkened. After the meeting ended, he called Qin Luyan. President Qin, could it be that you did this online? Lei Guofeng thought that he was an elder and immediately questioned him. His attitude was extremely bad. So, President Lei admits that you used my sister to block the bullet? There was no fluctuation in Qin Luyan's tone. His eyes were as gentle as ink, but at this moment, there was a coldness that made one's heart tremble. Lei Guofeng was a little speechless. Then, he shirked responsibility. This was done by the subordinates. I didn't know either. But President Qin, aren't you going overboard by doing this? If such news were to be exposed, it would take half of the Lei family's life. Is that so? Qin Luyan's lips curved, but his eyes were cold. If the headquarters finds out about this, will they let me off? Lu Yan, don't be too ruthless. Uncle, I recorded what you said just now. This will be used as evidence and go through legal procedures. Qin Luyan's words made Lei Guofeng freeze. He did not expect this young man to have such methods. Lu Yan, I'm your uncle. So what? Qin Luyan's tone was filled with mockery as he sneered. You. Qin Luyan curled his thin lips and said in a playful and cold tone, since President Lei can't do this game well, perhaps I can do it for you. Qin Luyan, even if the headquarters change people, they won't choose your Qin family. When Lei Guofeng heard that Qin Luyan was planning to make a move, he panicked. In the past few years, he knew best how much profit he had taken from the maps of the gods. If the management rights of the maps of the gods were not in his hands, the Lei family might have a harder time than before. How would you know if you don't try? Qin Luyan's eyes were filled with mockery. Before Lei Guofeng could say anything, he hung up. A few minutes later, Lei Guofeng really saw his own voice message and the Qin Corporation's public lawyer's letter online. His face was ashen and his pupils constricted. How could this be? The matter of the maps of the gods had yet to be resolved, and now the Qin family was interfering. Class 7. Master Pei, someone is looking for you outside. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and walked out. Bei Yunj, did you ask your brother to do it? Lei Ya's usually cold and arrogant eyes were filled with resentment. Her eyes were red, and she looked like she could not hold it in. Bei Yunj did not intend to answer her question. Instead, she sneered and looked straight at her with a pair of bright and charming eyes. You're the one who spread my results, right? Lei Ya froze. So, does the Lei family have the right to question me? Bei Yunja's words made Lei Ya's face turn red and white. She clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. So what? Are those results of yours shameful? You don't have to worry about this matter, Lei Tongxue. Student Lei, if you're free, you should see when the Lei family will be finished. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows, full of laziness and playfulness. This made Lei Ya grit her teeth. Lei Ya clenched her fists and looked at Bei Yunja's back view. In the end, she ran out. That's impossible. As long as the bug could be fixed, the headquarters would not really deal with them. Chapter 299. Lei Ya bumped into Cheng Zihuai on the way. Zihuai. Lei Ya looked at Cheng Zihuai hopefully. Did everyone at the computing company agree? It can be any amount. Did you tell them? Lei Ya, I'm sorry. There are indeed 2 people in the computing company who can do it. One is Elder Zhong, and the other is someone I've interacted with before. Cheng Zihuai said in a low voice, but she's not willing. Hearing this, Lei Ya held Cheng Zihuai's hand. Zihuai, tell me, who is that person? I'll go find her. Although Lei Guofeng was her stepfather, he treated her very well and almost treated her as his biological daughter. Therefore, Lei Ya did not want anything to happen to the Lei family. She is, but you won't be able to find her. The computing company values her very much and keeps her a secret. Cheng Zihuai looked helpless. She even took on a 10 billion yuan project some time ago. Do you think you can persuade such a person? Is there really no chance at all? Lei Ya felt cold all over. If that was the case, her status in the socialite circle would plummet. I'm sorry, that person didn't agree. Cheng Zihuai sighed. At the hospital. Bei Yunj was peeling an apple slowly when she glanced at old Master Qin on the bed. Grandpa, who are you calling? She had heard old Master Qin asking people if they knew anyone who was good at computing the whole morning. I'm calling my friend from before. Old Master Qin's face darkened. It's all because of your third brother. Because of the delay of the competition, he's completely dispirited and useless. I want to find someone to help fix that bug. Bei Yunja's eyes darkened and she slowed down her peeling of the apple. However, seeing Bei Yunj peel the apple without looking at it, old Master Qin was so scared that he almost had a heart attack. Io, little ancestor, put it down. I already said that you don't need to peel it. What if you hurt your hand? Didn't you not want him to play games? Bei Yunj asked deliberately. Was this granddaughter here to slap him in the face all day long? Old Master Qin's face was cold. Of course. Look at your third brother. He doesn't pay attention to his health when he's playing games. Day and night are reversed every day. Do you think I'll agree to that? But for this competition, he's completely dispirited. As his grandfather, how can I stand it? Don't bother looking for it. It's time for a nap, Grandpa. Bei Yunj handed it to old Master Qin. Eat and sleep. Old Master Qin, he was being taken care of by his granddaughter like a child. Maybe they can solve it themselves in the next 2 days, Bei Yunj said casually. Grandpa doesn't want to give them a chance to redeem themselves. Last time, old Master Qin had also received a call from Madame Lei, scolding Qin Luyan for his evil deeds. However, when old Master Qin found out about this, it was because Madame Lei had used Bei Yunj as a shield. It was as if a barrel of explosives had been detonated. Madame Lei was so angry that she could not say a word and hung up the phone. Bei Yunja's lips curved, but there was no smile in her eyes. Indeed, I shouldn't have given it to you. At night. Bei Yunj had just turned on her phone when she saw a few sincere greetings from the founder of the game company. Miss Pei, did you have a good meal today? I'm apologizing to you for what the branch did. Currently, I'm preparing to terminate the contract with the Lei Corporation. I hope to receive Miss Pei's forgiveness. Miss Pei, as long as you're willing to help, the remuneration is definitely sincere. Just mention it. Chapter 300. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and glanced at it casually. She seemed to have thought of something and her fingers moved slightly. Okay. Send the information over. At this moment, the person who had not woken up saw Bei Yunja's reply on his phone and woke up. She agreed, she agreed. She finally agreed. Then, the man reacted and hurriedly got out of bed. After changing his clothes, he went straight to the company to get the information. It was as if he was afraid that Bei Yunj would go back on her word. So, that night in Country A, the official account of the Maps of the Gods headquarters posted a status. E.G. Group, Maps of the Gods headquarters, thank you, everyone, for your love and concern for the Maps of the Gods. The Maps of the Gods represents the youth and passion of countless people. It will continue to be passed down to every generation. The headquarters is deeply sorry for this mistake and will deal with all the mistakes as soon as possible. We have also asked Miss for help. Heart, when this message was released, many people who were waiting for the follow-up exploded. Ah, it's the headquarters daddy. The headquarters daddy knows. Deal with all the mistakes. Ha ha ha, please explain. Does it include the Lei family? Dog head, I'm so ignorant. I know this problem. She's a new member of the Institute of Computational Technology in Country R. Everyone may not be familiar with this name, but everyone must know about the 10 billion research project. The most expensive woman in the scientific research field has appeared. Dog head, damn. So it's her. As expected of the headquarters daddy, she's too rich. However, because this name was unfamiliar to everyone, there were also people who doubted it. Let me ask weakly, can you really solve this problem? I heard that the branch has also found more than 100 technical staff in this area. Brothers, don't worry. She can do it. Awesome. I don't want to popularize it, but if you're worried, you can go to the literature website to look her up. After this person appeared, my thesis became much easier to write. In the month since she appeared, there have been more than 40 high-quality theses. Our dean brings the teachers to meetings every day to discuss it. Who doesn't say that she's a god? Dog head, she's here to fix bugs for you? I'm jealous. Isn't this asking a god to pluck carrots for you? It's too much of a waste of talent. But to be able to invite him, the headquarters is also very impressive. So, I'll be able to play Lord God in a few days, right? Rubbing hands nervously, the rapid change in public opinion was beyond everyone's expectations. Leia was stunned when she saw the message. Didn't Zihui say that she didn't agree to his request? Then, why would he be invited by the headquarters? Leia's eyes dimmed as she clenched her fists. At night, Bei Yunj, who was sitting in front of the computer, unwrapped a lollipop and slowly crushed it. She had just finished reading all the information about Maps of the Gods and checked the game. There were indeed many bugs. But it seemed to have been deliberately damaged. Bei Yunj didn't think too much about it. She started to fix the flaws in the game and installed 2 more modes into the system. An hour later, she finished the tedious process. It was done. Bei Yunj sent it to the game company's founder. It's fixed. I also modified the safe mode and positioning mode for you guys. You can track the intruder. Those who received the news froze. So fast? What's so fast? Delaney asked. His cousin looked up at him, still in disbelief. She fixed it in an hour. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes. Chapter 301. Delaney was silent for a while before she suddenly sneered and cut the steak on the plate angrily. Isn't it fast? Last time, I spent 1 billion yuan on a project. My son said that his teacher spent a month and only finished half of it. This vampire. Brother, don't say that in front of Miss Pei. After the little cousin finished speaking, he called Bei Yunj. At this moment. As soon as the call went through, Delaney's tone was nasty. What's wrong with talking about her? The patent is sold by the year and it's so expensive. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens? At the same time. The little cousin froze. Before he could stop him, he heard a voice on the phone. Is it Delaney? Her voice was lazy and there was a faint smile on her face. The little cousin did not dare to speak and only silently put the phone on speaker. Is she doing a good job in her project? She is. After that, Delaney, who was still spouting nonsense, was interrupted by a familiar voice. He's scolding me behind my back, right? The moment Bei Yunj's voice was heard, Delaney froze. Her twisted and ferocious expression seemed to be frozen. Brother, don't move. Before the little cousin could finish speaking, Delaney snatched the phone away fiercely. Don't you know how well you did your project? Do you still want me to make it clear? Delaney suddenly whispered, of course it's expensive if it's done well. It's only right. The little cousin was speechless. This was the first time he saw someone use the most arrogant tone to say the most cowardly words. The other end of the phone was silent for a while. Vic, other than the bug, I've also set up a new area for the high-end challenge mode you mentioned last time. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she smiled lazily. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing to take so much money from you for fixing a bug. Delaney. Vic was speechless. She was actually embarrassed. However, after the call ended, Vic returned to the company to check the game system and Bei Yunj's new mainland module. He felt that the money was worth it. The big boss was indeed the big boss. Even the game design was shocking. Although it was only a model, it could be released very quickly. However, not long after Vic marveled at Bei Yunj's handiwork, problems quickly arose. Boss, we can't pass this high-end challenge. I've been challenging for the entire afternoon. What's going on? Soon, Vic called Bei Yunj again and told her about it. Can't pass the challenge? That's impossible. My record is still on the scoreboard. It's not difficult. With that, Bei Yunj hung up the phone. When Wake heard this, he really went to check the rankings. High-level challenges were very difficult, so the experience, credit points, and equipment were the highest. Thus, Vic saw the first place, get all the points and equipment. As for the staff members under him, they all got single-digit points. Vic, who would believe her? The next day. E.G. Corporation, Maps of the Gods headquarters, sorry for the wait. Maps of the Gods is officially open for business. Thank you, miss, for taking the time to help Maps of the Gods get through this difficult time. At 8:00 in the morning, the Maps of the Gods made the headlines again. However, the headline this time was, #Maps of the Gods. The comments section was filled with enthusiasm. How long has it been since the official announcement? It's already fixed the next day. Ha 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 ha, am I the only one who noticed the busy time? It seems very simple, dog head. Chapter 302. The money came too quickly. It went into my pocket in an instant. There are so many kind people in this world. Why else would so many people give me money so enthusiastically? Dog head, ha ha ha, the person above is too much. Can't you feel sorry for the headquarters? But to be honest, it feels so cute. What a god. The bug was fixed in one night. Goodbye, big boss. I just want to know. Is it really expensive? Is the headquarters okay? Ha 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 ha. E.g. Corporation, maps of the gods' headquarters. The heated discussion did not last long. The main character finally responded. E.g. Corporation, maps of the gods' headquarters, expensive? Who's talking nonsense? Picture. The picture sent by the headquarters was of a fat orange hugging an empty wallet tightly and crying extremely sadly. Funny and humble, fat and weak. The netizens were about to burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha, I suddenly want to be a fan. What a wonderful woman. Heh, 47 documents that have not been copied are not worthy of being a fan. Dog head, there is no bug in this world that cannot be solved. If there is, it must be because you did not give enough. Dog head, the night was dark. The bedroom was eerily silent. In the dark space, a door stood in front of her. A faint light shone through the gap of the door. Then, a slender white hand, completely uncontrolled by her consciousness, pushed the door open again with slight trembling tiredness. Suddenly, a scream sounded in the beautiful bungalow. Hanging by the living room window was a beautiful and elegant woman. Blooming camellias were embroidered on the hem of her dress. However, her body was already cold. She appeared in front of her lifelessly. The woman who was usually gentle and loved to smile had died silently. The scene changed. The woman's students and relatives rushed over. Why did teacher Meng Liang hang herself? Everyone was feeling sorry for the death of a genius. Teacher Meng Liang is gone. What will happen to Gu in the future? Yes, why did it have to be today? Today is Gu's birthday. That person found it difficult to speak. However, he did not notice that the girl with her head lowered was slowly crumpling the letter in her hand. I heard that it was because Boss Pei remarried. Boss Pei's second daughter is about the same age as Gu. That was why teacher Meng Liang and Boss Pei had a fight. They're about the same age. Isn't this the same as having an affair back then? What's more, teacher Meng Liang has been waiting for Boss Pei to change his mind all these years. Stop talking, Gu is still here. Everyone noticed that the girl, who usually looked delicate and bright, was standing by the bedroom door without saying a word. She was too quiet. No one could tell if he was happy or angry. Someone said in fear, could it be that all geniuses are abnormal? After saying this, everyone's expression changed. They subconsciously looked at Bai Yunj and took a step back in fear. Are all geniuses lunatics? The scene in front of his eyes disappeared, leaving behind only emptiness and darkness, oppressing his heart. Suddenly, the girl on the bed clenched her fists so tightly that they dug into her flesh. She suddenly opened her eyes. Her eyes were still cold and bloodshot, and there was a thin layer of sweat on her forehead. A short while later, Bai Yunj came back to her senses and looked at the glaring bloodstain on her palm, but her expression remained calm. No wonder. It was almost her death anniversary. Bai Yunj got off the bed and went to the bathroom to wash away the bloodstain. Then, she went downstairs to get a glass of water. The moonlight outside was hazy, but it was a gentle color. Bai Yunj sat by the sofa and drank her iced water slowly. Chapter 303. The night was getting colder. The person sitting on the sofa rested her head with one hand. There was no fluctuation in her eyes as she quietly looked at the trees outside that were occasionally swayed by the wind. The sky was bright. Huashidu had just gone downstairs when he saw the girl sleeping on the sofa. Her long black hair was scattered casually, and her eyebrows were slightly furrowed uneasily. There was a faint redness in her eyes. The man's indifferent gaze stopped on Bai Yunj as he stood in front of her. Why was she sleeping here? After a while, he approached Bai Yunj and loosened his tie with his slender and well-defined hands. He bent one knee slightly and looked at the little girl who was sleeping uneasily. Yun, Huashidu's gaze darkened. He was about to stand up when the sleeping person suddenly hugged his strong waist. Huashidu was caught off guard and was pulled over by the little girl. He subconsciously supported himself with one hand on the sofa, afraid that he would wake her up. The man could not help but laugh. His deep and magnetic voice inadvertently teased her eardrums. "Child, are you a hooligan?" Master Du, Tseng Su, who had come to fetch Huashidu, happened to see this exciting scene. From Tseng Su's perspective, the little vixen's hands were still tightly hugging Master Du's waist. Master Du looked like he could not resist this temptation and had already pressed the little vixen down on the sofa. It was not good to be like this early in the morning, right? Tseng Su's body stiffened. He felt that he knew too much. Huashidu noticed Tseng Su behind him and glanced at him calmly. "Go and apply for sick leave for Mississippi." With that said, Huashidu turned around and slowly pulled Bei Yunja's hands away from his waist. He even chuckled and coaxed her. Yun, don't hug me when you're asleep. Hug me when you wake up. I'll take you to sleep, okay?" Perhaps because she heard Huashidu's voice, Bei Yunj woke up a little. She let go of her hands that were hugging him and opened her eyes slightly. She watched as the man placed her hand on his neck, circled around her legs, and lifted her up easily. "Brother!" Bei Yunj suddenly shouted and consciously rubbed against Huashidu's neck before closing her eyes. However, the man's entire body froze from this nudge. The numbness on his neck made his throat move unconsciously. A certain someone who saw this scene, Tseng Su looked at Huashidu's back view as he carried the girl upstairs. For a moment, he suddenly understood how the virtuous officials in ancient times felt when they learned that the king did not attend court. Wasn't he doting on Miss Pei too much? Asking for leave from school. If it was the little young master, would Master Du not throw him out? A few minutes later, Tseng Su had just made a phone call to Bei Yunj to ask for leave when a low voice came from upstairs. "Bring me the medical kit." Why was it so intense last night? Could it be that Master Du had a special interest in tormenting Miss Pei on purpose? This was too inhumane. Then what's the use of this medical box? Just as Tseng Su was hesitating whether he should find a private female doctor, he had already taken the things upstairs. In Huashidu's bedroom, the girl was lying on the bed while the man was holding an alcohol swab and gently disinfecting her wound. Then, he slowly bandaged her wound. Seeing this scene, Tseng Su realized that he had misunderstood. "Miss Pei, why are you injured?" Tseng Su asked softly. Huashidu's gaze darkened and he glanced at Bei Yunj. The back of his fingers caressed her cheek casually. Chapter 304. "Master Du, should we go to the company first? Aunt Miao is still outside. Besides, Miss Pei probably didn't sleep last night. Go back to the company first and inform them of the video conference." Tseng Su was speechless. This was indeed the outcome. The company was gradually not as important as Miss Pei. Lei Corporation. President Lei, the headquarters of the Maps of the Gods, sent a message. "They want to terminate our contract, and sue us." Hearing this, Lei Guofeng's expression changed. What? He was the one who was most afraid of having his contract terminated. He had gained so much from the Maps of the Gods, so how could he let go of this fat piece of meat so easily? At the moment, no one knows about this, right? Lei Guofeng rubbed his temples tiredly. The person who spoke paused and his voice became even softer. "The headquarters of the Maps of the Gods has been actively contacting the Qin Corporation recently." The meaning of these words was self-evident. Qin Corporation? Lei Guofeng's expression was terrible. If they did not know the people from the Qin Corporation, why would the headquarters contact them personally? This Qin Luyan is really amazing. Lei Guofeng gritted his teeth. After the meeting ended, Lei Guofeng called Madame Lei, hoping that she would go to the Qin family and have a good talk. Hengda High School. Year 2 Class 1. Leia, I heard that you're the eldest daughter of the Lei family. Will the Lei Corporation be held accountable by the headquarters? Someone asked. Hearing this, Leia stopped writing and looked at her. She smiled and said, "No, don't worry. You don't have to worry about such things." Instantly, the girl was embarrassed. I didn't mean that. I was just concerned about you." Leia turned around again and looked down at the question. She smiled and said, "I'm fine, and I don't need anyone to care about me. Why don't you care about yourself?" Hearing this, the girl's face turned pale. She could only say something casually and run away. Seeing this, Leia's lowered eyes were still cold, but the knuckles of her hand that was holding the pen turned white. Until Cheng Zihuai came to look for Leia personally. The two of them were by the corridor. "Leia, I'm sorry. I did contact him, but I didn't expect, in the end, he agreed to the headquarters." Leia looked at Cheng Zihuai and asked casually, "Zihuai, how's your relationship with her?" Cheng Zihuai's body stiffened. He clenched his fists and smiled. "I was rejected by her. I thought she would give me some face, but perhaps, Japan's Computing Institute asked her to do so. After all, she is not a member of the Computing Institute." "I see." At first, Leia's heart was stifled. She thought that Cheng Zihuai was deliberately not saying anything because he wanted to help the Qin family watch the Lei family make a fool of themselves. This matter was resolved by the headquarters. "Will your branch be affected?" Cheng Zihuai's question made Leia stop holding the water bottle. Actually, everyone knew that since it was the headquarters that did it, the Lei family would definitely be affected. "I don't know what will happen this time. Besides, the Qin family has already fallen out with my father because of Bei Yunj." Leia clenched her fists and said, "I was the one who posted Bei Yunj's results." Cheng Zihuai looked at Leia's expression and was a little surprised. He did not expect Leia to admit it so frankly. "It's okay. You just want to help your father." A dark glint flashed across Cheng Zihuai's eyes. However, this matter might be resolved. In the hospital. Chapter 305. Because when Madame Lei was complaining to Old Master Qin Luyan happened to bump into her. The moment Madame Lei saw Qin Luyan, she wanted to make a move. However, she did not expect to be thrown out of the hospital by Qin Luyan's bodyguards. She even sent a message to the hospital that no one was allowed to visit Old Master Qin. This time, the Lei family completely hated the Qin family. Just after noon, Bei Yunj woke up and saw the man who was dealing with his emails in the room. "Brother?" She got up and realized that she had slept in Huashidu's room again. This month, she no longer needed to change rooms with Huashidu to fall asleep. But coincidentally, Meng Ying's death anniversary was coming again. Every year at this time, she would need to rely on medicine to relieve her mental stress. She did not expect to sleep so peacefully at Huashidu's place again. "You're awake? Did you have a nightmare yesterday?" Huashidu's gaze swept across her bandaged hand. Bei Yunj, When Bei Yunj was about to get out of bed, she realized that her hand had been bandaged. "Brother, my hand." The man's eyes were clear and abstinent. His light and lazy voice had a seductive smile as he asked frivolously, "Why?" "Yunyun fell asleep and found trouble with me." "Are you planning to find trouble with me when you wake up?" Bei Yunja's heart skipped a beat. She felt that this man's words did not seem to mean what he said on the surface. "Brother, what did I do when I was asleep?" Bei Yunj asked calmly. Why didn't she remember that she could sleepwalk? "I didn't do anything." Hearing this, Bei Yunja's heart was relieved. Then, she heard the man's last syllable. It was flirtatious and ambiguous, making her blush and her heart race. "You're quite passionate towards me." Bei Yunj changed the topic without changing her expression. "Thank you for bandaging my wound, brother." "You heartless girl." The man curled his lips imperceptibly and said lightly. After that, Bei Yunj had just gotten out of bed and went to her room to get her phone when she saw a message from Si Chengyan. The people from the Lei clan have come looking for you. They hope that you can plead on their behalf. They don't even know that what they want has already been used as a shield. They've offended them to the core. How is it? Humiliate him, reject him, and ravage him? Bei Yunja's eyelids twitched as she felt Si Chengyan's excitement. Who hooked him up and told you to ask me? Soon, Si Chengyan replied. You should know Cheng Zihuai. He has been looking for you all this time and wants you to accept him as your student. Bei Yunj raised his eyebrows. After replying to Si Chengyan, he did not look at his phone again. Got it. Next time, you don't have to pass on his message anymore. A few days passed. The headquarters of the game directly announced the cooperation with the Qin Corporation and promoted the new world of the game. This made the netizens excited. I heard that the new world is a high-end challenge. Even the rich players will be restricted. Thus, everyone clicked into the new world with excitement and beautiful fantasies. 2 hours later. The people who came out were all reported under the game headquarters official announcement. A high-end challenge? Are you sure it's not a hell challenge? I played for an hour and only passed the first level. What are they doing? I want to ask, who is the designer of this thing? Did he pass the level himself? Smile. Not long after, someone weakly sent a screenshot. I seem to have discovered something incredible. Picture. Everyone clicked on the picture and saw a screenshot of the rankings. The first and second place were already separated by a cliff. First place. Chapter 306. Suddenly. Everyone seemed to know who had created this new continent. Not long after, the gaming headquarters confirmed their guess. E.G. Corporation, Maps of the Gods headquarters, Miss gave everyone a gift. Have fun, heart, in the comments section. Take it away. I don't want it. Sob 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 sob. Look, our big boss is so polite. Cover mouth and tear. JPG, why are you guys so fat? You don't even want free points. Dog head, when I was playing games in class just now, I was caught by the professional teacher. I told him that this was designed. I didn't expect the teacher to play it too. You didn't expect that the second place was obtained by my teacher using my account. Dog head, ha ha ha, there are more strange teacher-student activities. Dog head, no one expected that because this game board was designed, it would attract the interest of many big shots in the computing field. Yuncheng University School of Information Engineering, take a look at the results of our dean and professor. Don't hesitate, come and apply. Dog head, picture, Research Institute, Zhongshenglin, second place, Bill, picture, Beichuan University, application for battle, picture, seeing the results of the big shots, the netizens' hearts twitched. Ah, they're all big shots. Ha 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 ha. True fire. The top of the computing field. How can this group of people be good at mathematics and games? Smile, we're both from the computing department, but my dean can't pass. He's been playing for the entire afternoon. It seems like he's not going to return my account. Goodbye, at the hospital. Bei Yunj had just walked into the ward when she saw the old man in a dark blue outfit. He was in high spirits. How's this outfit? Is it okay? It looks good. Mr. Qin nodded. Bei Yunj glanced at Mr. Qin and asked casually, Grandpa, what are you doing? Silly girl, isn't your birthday in a few days? Grandpa has to choose a new set of clothes so that he can go to your birthday party. Bei Yunj subconsciously paused and chuckled. There's no need to be so high profile. There's no need for that. Our Qin family's precious first miss can't be wronged. Old Master Qin frowned and disagreed. Bei Yunj narrowed her eyes. After a moment of silence, she smiled and said, All right, I'll listen to you. This time, we'll hold the birthday party at the old mansion. We'll invite all our old friends from the circle. Let everyone know that Gu is the eldest daughter of the Qin family. Old Master Qin had been unconscious on Bei Yunja's birthday the last 2 times, so he had missed it. Dad, then Yojiao. Before Father Qin could finish, Old Master Qin interrupted him coldly. If you want her to come to the Qin family for her birthday, then you're dreaming. A few days ago, Old Master Qin was told by Qin Luyan about what Qin Yojiao had done to Bei Yunj online. Therefore, even the last bit of affection he had for Qin Yojiao was completely gone. Mr. Qin's expression was ugly and he could not help but glance at Bei Yunj. He was afraid that Bei Yunj would look at him with that disappointed gaze. However, when he looked at her, he realized that Bei Yunj had never treated him like he existed. Mr. Qin's lips moved. I didn't mean to let Jiao steal your limelight. It's mainly. Chapter 307. Mr. Qin. Bei Yunj looked up slowly, her eyes expressionless. But this time, Mr. Qin's body stiffened, and he stopped talking. Previously, he had also felt that Bei Yunj would not take the initiative to act cold because of the old master. But now, the old master was still around and Bei Yunj was already acting a little impatient. Are you angry? Mr. Qin's eyes darkened. It's only right for you to dote on your daughter. But I can't get along with your daughter. I hope you know what you're doing. Bei Yunja's calm words made Mr. Qin's expression change and his face burn. He did not dare to look up at Bei Yunj again. After saying a few words to the old master, he left in a hurry. Do you think your father? Before old Master Qin could ask, he was interrupted by Bei Yunj. Grandpa, do you want to change to a red one to add some joy to your granddaughter? Old Master Qin was speechless. No, he refused. At the same time, old Master Qin could not help but sigh. How could he not tell that compared to the 3 little ones, Bei Yunj did not have a good impression of Mr. and Mrs. Qin at all. In school, Leia was in a bad mood, so Cheng Zihuai accompanied her around the campus. I watched your recording last time. It's not bad. You seem to have a lot of male fans, Cheng Zihuai teased deliberately. Leia's expression was not too good, but she forced a smile and said, there aren't many girls in the esports scene. I heard that you're interested in joining Qin Lang's club. Hearing this, Leia's eyes turned cold and she pursed her lips. I used to want to, but forget it now. Back then, she had used many methods to get in, but Qin Lang's club had too high a requirement and she could not be hired by Team 2. As for now, the Qin family was already discussing with the headquarters of the Maps of the Gods. How could she still be willing to interact with the Qin family regarding the jurisdiction of the branch in the future? Cheng Zihuai's eyes darkened. Before he could speak, he heard the discussion in front. I heard that Qin Yojiao received an invitation to the Nearly 18 debutante ball. Is this true? Of course, it's already at the top of the headlines. It was also personally acknowledged by Mrs. Qin. The girl who had been silent all this while couldn't help but ask, isn't this just a socialite ball? What happened? Are you stupid? Nearly is the capital of our nation, and the Nearly 18 socialite ball is an annual event. The socialites invited come from all over the world. Only those with both looks and talent are qualified to participate. So powerful? Then if Qin Yojiao goes, she will definitely get to know the top socialites? The girl, who had been talking about science, said arrogantly, of course it's amazing. A ball of this level was something that ordinary people would never be able to witness in their entire lives. However, Qin Yojiao rejected him. She said that she wanted to celebrate her birthday in Yuncheng and couldn't go. Hearing this, the 2 girls beside her also became excited. Birthday celebration? Since her birthday is the same as Bei Yunja's, wouldn't the 2,000 gold coins be at odds with each other? I think so too. Previously, I thought that Qin Yojiao was going to make a fool of herself, but I didn't expect her to get an invitation to the Neely ball after leaving the Qin family. She's really amazing. Since she could get an invitation from Neely and even gave it up personally, she must have a bargaining chip. Then Bei Yunj is going to be slapped hard in the face this time. The girl could not help covering her mouth and laughing. It seems like no one took her seriously after she returned to the Qin family. She would rather be a fake young lady and ignored her. Chapter 308. If it were me, I wouldn't care about Bei Yunj either. She came to our school and I don't see how she's good. She's just a hooligan who got lucky. The girl snorted. The two people listening behind had their own thoughts. Leia's blood seemed to have frozen. In the past, she thought that she was only a little worse than Qin Youjiao. She thought that Qin Youjiao could no longer compare to her after leaving the Qin family. But now, suddenly, Cheng Zihuai smiled gently. I didn't expect Jiao to be so capable. She even got an invitation to the Neely 18 debutante ball. Leia's cold voice stiffened. But this ball has never invited the socialites of our country before. Besides, even if she was the biological young lady of the Qin family, she was not the top socialite in the country and was not qualified to enter such a ball. That's why Jiao is amazing. She always has a way to make people look at her differently. Cheng Zihuai patted Leia's shoulder with a smile, in a good mood. However, Yaya, you're very capable too. Hearing this, Leia could not squeeze out a smile on her face. Was that why Qin Youjiao would always be someone who could not be forgotten? Only she could be the center of attention? Class 7. Lu Yuanci played the maps of the gods and could not help sighing. She's really a beast. She can actually make such a setting. The moment he finished speaking, the back of Lu Yuanci's head was slapped by his desk mate. Lu Yuanci was speechless. Why were these women so fond of the back of his head? Why did you hit me? I hope you can say something reasonable. Bei Yunj's cold gaze swept over him. After a while, Lu Yuanci regained his senses and his eyes lit up. Deskmate, are you a fan of? Bei Yunj said. No. You're still pretending? If she's not your idol, what's wrong with me scolding her? This is a good game, but she made it like this. Shouldn't you scold her? Before Lu Yuanci could finish speaking, he shut up silently when he felt his deskmate's murderous gaze. She was clearly a fan, but she didn't let him say it. Lu Yuanci's eyes were accusing. You don't know how to play, Bei Yunj corrected him. Lu Yuanci smiled faintly. If I don't know how to play, who does? No one knows it better than me, okay? Bei Yunj did not waste any time. She took Lu Yuanci's phone and restarted the game. Seeing this, those who had not seen Bei Yunj playing maps of the gods before gathered around. In the end, Bei Yunj cleared all the levels in less than 20 minutes. The total points were the same as full marks. Everyone? There's really someone who can clear it. The boy behind had an indescribably complicated feeling. Lu Yuanci was petrified. He had been playing for so many days, but he still hadn't entered the top 100. He was stuck in the low-scoring circle. This time, he suddenly rose to second place. Many people came to ask him about it. Some asked for instructions on how to operate it, while others asked him to guide them. Lu Yuanci's face was full of vulgarities. He was considering whether he could continue playing with this full-score account. Look, it won't take long. You have to play seriously, the person sitting next to him said in a gentle and serious manner. Everyone, ? Listen, was this something a human would say? They had been playing for so many days. Was this not serious enough? After saying that, Bei Yunj could not help but frown. She was a little unhappy that the maps of the gods' headquarters had secretly lowered the difficulty of her game. If she had not tried it just now, she would not have known about this. Chapter 309. Before Bei Yunj could settle the score with Vic, Chu Zhixing suddenly patted her shoulder from behind. Master Pei, what will you do for your birthday? Eat cake. Bei Yunj did not know what kind of birthday cake could be, so she said, if you want to eat it, I'll send you an address. Okay. Chu Zhixing's eyelid twitched. This person seemed to think that he was going to her birthday because he wanted to eat cake. I want to go too. Lu Yuanxi said immediately. I should have invited the Lu family. Bei Yunj played with her iPad slowly. At this moment, Chu Zhixing looked at Bei Yunj and said, I heard that Qin Youjiao was invited to the Nearly 18 debutante ball. She rejected it and plans to celebrate her birthday in Yuncheng. Nearly 18 debutante ball? After Bei Yunj asked, Chu Zhixing explained to her. Is there anything special about this ball? Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. Lu Yuanxi smirked. Yes, the male partner arranged for the ball in Nearly is either the young and handsome prince of our country or the young master of a prestigious family. This was also a large-scale social gathering in the top circle. I see. Bei Yunj was not interested and her eyes were lazy. It seems like she likes to celebrate birthdays. Everyone was speechless. Lu Yuanxi could not take it anymore. She likes to celebrate birthdays? She's planning to suppress you. Do you know what you're doing, Master Pei? Bei Yunj glanced at him. Haven't you always liked Qin Youjiao? Now, he was the first to say that Qin Youjiao was bad. That's just admiration. It can't be compared to friendship. Lu Yuanxi muttered, besides, this is the past. Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. She did not expect Lu Yuanxi to end his career as a spare tire in this lifetime. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Bei Yunj was rushing to finish the project in her hands and only wanted to complete her first project as soon as possible. Suddenly, Lu Yuanxi understood the meaning of the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is. Jiao, I've discussed your birthday with your Aunt Cheng. We'll celebrate it with the Cheng family. Mrs. Qin said happily. Qin Youjiao smiled. I'll listen to Mom's arrangements. This time, it's really all thanks to the invitation to the Nearly ball. Otherwise, it's hard to say if Madame Cheng would have agreed. Mother Qin was curious. Jiao, how do you know the people over there? Why did they send you an invitation? A dark glint flashed across Qin Youjiao's eyes. She tilted her head and smiled. Mom, didn't many seniors come to my piano concert last time? It seems that many people overseas like my new piece too. So it's those seniors. Mother Qin nodded. To be honest, even Mother Qin was shocked when she saw an invitation to a ball of this level. That was why the Cheng family ignored Qin Youjiao's true identity and understood her current value. To be able to attend such a ball, it meant that she had connections in the top circle. If he wanted to climb up, how could he not have something like this? After so many years, didn't the Cheng family want to rise to the next level? Mom, don't worry. I'll work hard in the future. When you're old, I'll be filial to you, Qin Youjiao said seriously and firmly. She also understood Mrs. Qin's love and care for her. Good child, Mom only wants you to be good. Mrs. Qin smiled and caressed her head. The Cheng family will be helping you this birthday. Don't worry, it won't be worse than that person. Besides, there will be a heavyweight attending your birthday party. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly ticket. Chapter 310. Besides, the people in the industry were not stupid. Between Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao, would they know who not to choose? 2 days before Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao's birthday was on the same day, a piece of news suddenly appeared on the internet. In order to celebrate Qin Youjiao's birthday, the Cheng family booked the Platinum Gold Hotel for an entire day. This was a hotel with a standard room price of more than 10,000 yuan. The Cheng family had spent so much effort to book the Platinum Gold Hotel. It was probably close to 10 million yuan. 10 million yuan a day. The Cheng family's care for Qin Youjiao was indeed shocking. There were even more bragging online. F***ck, F***ck, F***ck Qin Youjiao is too much of a princess. Even if she's not a real princess, someone will make her one. Platinum Gold Hotel. Are you afraid that the Qin family will make a move first? Doghead, the person above is speaking up for the Qin family? Once their biological daughter is here, they don't want their adopted daughter either. Besides, the Qing family's current momentum is better than the Qin family's. Those who say that the Cheng family's momentum is better than the Qin family probably don't know how many big projects the new President Qin has collaborated on outside. This time, the Maps of the Gods project is nothing to the Qin family. Okay. The real young lady is awesome, okay? Then let's take a good look at where the Qin family is preparing to celebrate the real young lady's birthday. The Platinum Gold Hotel has already booked the entire place. What else can the Qin family do? Book it a day in advance or a day later? Don't say, I feel like the Qin family really doesn't care that much about the real young lady. Seeing the many speculations and discussions online, Qin Yu's expression changed and he went straight to the Hua Corporation. What's the matter? The man did not even look up and continued to work on his documents. How about you book the Platinum Gold Hotel for me in 2 days? Qin Yu added, I'll double the price. Can't you tell the people below about this? Hearing this, Hua Shidu glanced at him slowly. Qin Yu's expression darkened. It's already been booked. Hua Shidu chuckled carelessly and leaned against the chair leisurely, his indifferent eyes light. Why? Did your love rival book it? No, it's someone even more despicable. Qin Yu's dark tone seemed to be squeezed out from between his teeth. Gu, and Qin Youjiao have the same birthday. In order to let Qin Youjiao suppress Gu, the Qing family specially booked the Platinum Hotel. Birthday? Hua Shidu's eyebrows moved as he looked at him again. He didn't know that it would be the little girl's birthday in 2 days. Gu, didn't tell you? Qin Yu was stunned for a moment before he said with a smile, that's true. Maybe I'm not familiar with you. After saying this, Qin Yu did not feel the indescribable coldness in Hua Shidu's eyes as he looked at him. Help me, Master Du, no matter what. Qin Yu did not want Qin Youjiao to suppress Gu, There's no need. Before Qin Yu could react to what Hua Shidu meant, he heard him say slowly. I'll get Tseng Su to arrange the location. As for the people you want to invite, you can send them to Tseng Su later. I'll get him to send the invitation. Seeing that Hua Shidu was planning to arrange it personally, Qin Yu was relieved. Master Du, are you sure there's a place better than the Platinum Gold Hotel in your family? Qin Yu asked in the end. It's because that piece of land isn't worth much that it was used to build a hotel. The man was calm. Qin Yu was speechless. If he said this, something might happen. Time passed and it was the day of the birthday party. P.S. Be good and remember your monthly votes. Add more chapters every month. Chapter 311. Bei Yunj walked out of Hua Shidu's bedroom and seemed to have heard something in the living room. Assistant Tseng? Bei Yunj furrowed her eyebrows and looked at Tseng Su in surprise. Why was he here? Miss Pei, I'm here to take you to the birthday party. With that said, Tseng Su could not help but laugh. Miss Pei, happy birthday. Bei Yunja's eyes moved and she remembered that it was her birthday today. Are you taking me to the birthday party? Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. I'm going back to the old mansion to celebrate my birthday. Miss Pei, Master Du has arranged other locations for you to celebrate your birthday. You can just change your clothes and come with me. At the same time, Qin Youjiao had already changed into her gown. In the suite of Platinum Gold Hotel, she was looking at her dress and choosing jewelry. My Jiao looks good all the time. The moment Mrs. Qin came over, she could not help praising her. Then, she turned to say to Mrs. Cheng, "Mrs. Cheng, our Jiao Jiao has really troubled you these few days. What's there to trouble you about? I can't stand the Qin family bullying my future daughter-in-law either." Mrs. Cheng's words made Qin Yojiao blush. "I'm the one who's not outstanding enough. That's why my brothers gave up on me." Qin Yojiao's eyes darkened. "They're all stubborn. There's no need to speak up for your brothers." Mrs. Cheng walked forward with a smile and patted Qin Yojiao's hand. "Jiao Jiao, you still have to rely on yourself to rise to the top. Bei Yunj doesn't have that fate, but you do." She continued, "Apart from Platinum Gold Hotel, I've also arranged for Mr. Du Xiao to be a guest." Hearing this, Qin Yojiao looked up. "Elder Du is here?" Du Xiao was famous both domestically and overseas and was known as the last classical music master left in the world. However, Du Xiao had immigrated to our nation with his family when he was 7 and rarely returned to country A. Yes, although it's very difficult to invite Elder Du, but he has heard of your works and thinks that Jiao Jiao's works are very spiritual. Mrs. Cheng smirked and looked at Qin Yojiao in front of her with satisfaction. She wanted to turn the tables for Qin Yojiao so that the Qin family would consider taking Qin Yojiao back. After all, Qin Yojiao was her daughter-in-law and needed the identity of the Qin family's eldest young Miss Moore. As for that useless real young lady, since she had come charging over, she should be prepared to pave the way for Qin Yojiao. Coldness and disdain flashed across Madame Cheng's eyes. When Qin Yojiao heard Du Xiao's name, her originally uneasy heart finally relaxed. Unexpectedly, it was actually Elder Du who came personally. Qin Yojiao could not suppress the excitement in her heart as she thought of Du Xiao taking in a disciple recently. If Du Xiao was willing to come over, could it be that he had the intention of taking her in? At this moment, there was a heated discussion online because the artiste who had offended Bei Yunj before was invited to Platinum Gold Hotel by Qin Yojiao. It was also because of her envy that Qin Yojiao's birthday party this time was extravagant. God, he spent tens of millions on his birthday, why is there no movement from the Qin family? Xiaofan, can't you find a better place than the Platinum Gold Hotel? It's probably a gathering at the old mansion. To put it nicely, it's to acknowledge the ancestors. TSK, 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 the real young lady is way too different from Qin Yojiao. Within moments, Yu Manran, who had finally settled down recently, started to act up again. Yu Manran, invitation, starry-eyed, picture. The invitation in the picture was from the Qin family and the address of the banquet was even more shocking. Yuther Residence? Chapter 312. Wait, everyone. Is this the address of Bei Yunja's birthday party? Is Yuther Residence a hotel? Sorry to disturb you. The ignorant me only knows that this address is the best piece of land developed in the city center. Every inch of land is really expensive, goodbye, ha ha ha, the person above is too cute. Do you know why that piece of land is the best piece of land developed in the city center? Because it's backed by the Hua Corporation. Super loud, they didn't know much about the Yuther Residence, but they were aware of the status of the Hua Group. F***CK, then Yuther Residence is on the same level as Platinum Gold Royal Hotel, right? Stop fooling around. Do you know what Yuther Residence is? Even if you say it's a hotel, I think Yuther Residence is being scammed. After all, the maintenance fee of Yuther Residence for a year is about the annual income of an ordinary 5-star hotel. Dog, yes. Platinum Gold Royal Hotel is indeed impressive, but Yuther Residence is a famous building from the last century. If it wasn't a private residence, countless people would visit it out of admiration. After understanding this concept, the netizens were silent. They felt that their imagination was limited by poverty. So, how did the Qin family get the owner of this residence to agree to their family's birthday celebration? How much money would this cost? Instantly, the excited Xiao fans fell silent. Only a few netizens could not help feeling jealous. Bei Yunj is the eldest young lady of the Qin family after all. She actually invited a popular female celebrity? It's so degrading. Anti-fans, don't be jealous. No matter what, it's a place you can't enter in your life. The artiste your Qin Yojiao invited is a C-list artiste. Our man is an A-list artiste. What's the matter? Question, acting like a nouveau riche. Are you afraid that you don't know that the Qin family is rich? For Qin Yojiao to receive an invitation to the Nili ball, it means that she has connections in the industry. Isn't it obvious who's the tacky one now? Those who talk about connections really don't know who the owner of Uther Residence is. Platinum Gold Royal Hotel. Qin Yojiao's expression was a little ugly when she saw the rumors online about Bei Yunja's birthday celebration address. Uther Residence? Mom, do you know that Bei Yunj is going to Uther Residence for her birthday? Mrs. Qin asked. Uther Residence? After Qin Yojiao's explanation, Mrs. Qin was furious as well. She laughed coldly. Alright, they said that I was biased back then, but what about themselves? He even booked the Uther Residence. But Jiao, you don't have to worry. Platinum Gold Hotel is good too. Mother Qin caressed her cheek and said with a smile, as the daughter of a prestigious family, it's more important to have connections in the industry. The Qin family was willing to spend money because they doted on Bei Yunj. But connections represented the recognition of Bei Yunj by the outside world. Mom, is Grandpa going to bring someone powerful to Bei Yunja's birthday party? When Mother Qin heard this, she couldn't help but raise her eyebrows and smile. Silly girl, old master does have a lot of connections. But in the past 2 days, I've contacted several of your old master's old friends. They will all come to your birthday party. This situation also proved that even the Qin family's family friends were more inclined towards Qin Yojiao. Although, some of the reasons might be because of the Nili ball. Qin Yojiao lowered her head, hiding the smugness in her eyes as she restrained the smile on her lips. I understand. Uther Residence. Bei Yunj had just gotten out of the car when she saw a shocking Western classical building. There was a sparkling lake in the surroundings. Nearby, there were fake stone mountains, and far away, there was a misty mountain range. Bei Yunja's eyes landed on the brightly lit residence and she could see the expensive murals inside from afar. Chapter 313. Who booked it? Bei Yunj asked. Miss Pei, this isn't booked by anyone. It's Master Du's private residence. If you like it, you can come and play often in the future. Assistant Tseng smiled on the surface, but in fact, he had mixed feelings about Huashida's actions. Actually, the old madam had said that she wanted to leave this residence for Master Du's engagement party. However, in order to dote on Miss Pei, Master Du had no limits and even gave her Uther residence. Bei Yunj was surprised. What about brother? Tseng Su shook his head. I'm not sure either. My mission is to send you to the residence. Then, when Bei Yunj walked into the residence, she realized that all the decorations in the living room were made of expensive antiques. Was such a place suitable for a banquet? Old Master Qin walked over and held Bei Yunja's hand as he appeared in front of everyone. In the blink of an eye, they saw a beautiful and delicate girl walking slowly into their line of sight. Was this the real young lady of the Qin family? Everyone was stunned for a long time. Let me introduce you all. This is my only granddaughter, Bei Yunj. For the past 2 years, she has been sick and has never brought her to meet everyone. With that said, many people clapped and could not help but look at Bei Yunj a few more times. Suddenly, someone sneered, Old Master Qin, isn't your granddaughter Qin Yojiao? Is it because Miss Pei is back that you can't tolerate Miss Qin Yojiao? Hearing this, the atmosphere froze. Wasn't she obviously here to cause trouble? However, what was even more surprising was that someone actually agreed. That's right. I'm afraid Miss Pei can't compare to the glory Miss Qin Yojiao has now. It's not a glorious thing to let the granddaughter you've doted on for almost 20 years leave, right? Then, the person who spoke first pointed at Bei Yunj. He asked deliberately, Miss Pei, is all of this because of you? After that, Bei Yunj chuckled, her slow tone full of impudence. Sir, if you can't stand it anymore, it's better to change the venue now. For a moment, everyone choked on his words. This new young miss was not to be trifled with. Miss Pei, it looks like you're not afraid of offending people? The person who was rebuked had a livid expression. Bei Yunja's eyes were full of mischief. You shouldn't be the one asking this question, sir. At this moment, no one thought that Bei Yunj would really not leave any face for others. My little sister was rude. As her big brother, I apologize on her behalf. Qin Luyan's words made the person who had been looking for trouble look better. However, the next moment, Qin Luyan said slowly, Secretary Qian, go outside and hail a taxi. Send this guest to Platinum Gold Royal Hotel. In an instant, everyone looked at the handsome and calm man in front of them in disbelief. In business, Qin Luyan had always been decisive and never gave anyone face. But a man like Qin Luyan actually doted on his sister? You want me to leave? The young and handsome man flew into a rage out of humiliation. He laughed coldly. Do you think I want to come to such a birthday party? Then, he turned to look at everyone and said in a disdainful tone, Everyone, the Cheng family has invited many capable people to Miss Qin Youjiao's birthday party. I heard that even the founder of Minglan Corporation, the famous old Mr. Du Xiao, is here. Do you really want to stay here? Chapter 314. The founder of Minglan Corporation? Wasn't this the richest man in D City? Actually, many people originally thought that compared to Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao was more valuable. At this moment, hearing this, many people's thoughts immediately stirred. President Qin, I also think that the noble young lady's temper should be changed appropriately. It's just a joke. Yes, I'm really sorry, old Master Qin. Everyone's mood has been ruined. Those who planned to leave pushed all the blame onto Bei Yunj. Seeing this, the person who led the trouble glanced at Bei Yunj provocatively when he was about to leave with 7 to 8 guests. This time, he had really completed the task Mrs. Cheng had given him easily. However, just as the man was mocking the Qin family in his heart, the guests who followed him out suddenly felt excited and shocked. Wait, look at the person walking over from the door. Doesn't she look like Baiji? What Baiji? Do you want a tissue? She's the heir of the Bai Corporation. The moment he finished speaking, someone exclaimed, Why is Ji Yiqing here? When everyone heard this name, they suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air. Wasn't this the young major of the Ji family? Then, someone noticed something. There are 2 people behind. They look a little familiar. Hearing this, everyone turned back instinctively, but they muttered in their hearts. Could there be someone more important than these 2? But in the next moment, when everyone saw who it was, their legs almost turned to jelly. Bo Yuxiu? Yu Hanran? Why were the people they saw today more and more untouchable than the other? Suddenly, someone caught the main point. Are they here to attend Bei Yunja's birthday party? How is this possible? Someone could not help but mutter. However, they all knew in their hearts that this person had already walked into Yuther residence. Could it be that they had seen the wrong way? Impossible. How could the Qin family invite them? The face of the person who started the trouble first paled. He did not expect such a reversal. However, when Yu Hanran passed by, he glanced at the 7 to 8 petrified people and asked Bo Yuxiu. What's going on? Could it be that those who didn't bring birthday presents were all chased out? Fortunately, I brought it with me. Yu Hanran held the gift in his hand with a smug expression. Bo Yuxiu, as for the 7 or 8 people who went out, they were extremely regretful. The people from the Bai Corporation, the Bo Corporation, and the Yu Corporation were all here, but they didn't want such a good network and went out by themselves. The few of them were filled with regret. Looking at the laughter of the guests in the mansion, 2 of them were thick-skinned and already wanted to sneak back. However, they did not expect that there would suddenly be a few more tall and strong security guards outside, eyeing them covetously. Hence, before long, the 2 men returned with their tails between their legs. "I can't enter any more. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have followed him out on a whim." The few people who came out couldn't help but regret it. No matter how ostentatious the Cheng family was, they only managed to invite Minglan Group, which was ranked 5th on the annual market capitalization list. However, the Qin family already had 3 successors from the top 5 corporations in the country. When they thought of this, the 7 of them were filled with hatred. They couldn't help but look resentfully at the young master of the Ning family who had instigated them to come out. Impossible. Why are they here to celebrate the Qin family's birthday? Chapter 315. As soon as young Master Ning finished speaking, he heard another voice beside him. "Mo, hold on to a lass. Today is your sister Pei's birthday. Don't make her unhappy, okay?" Old Madame Huo was dressed grandly. Even though she was old, her elegant features still made people feel that she was inviolable. "Yes, I have a gift for my sister too." Today, Mo was dressed like a little prince. He even carried a small school bag over and struggled to hold a lass's hand. "Then Grandma is relieved." Old Madame Hua heaved a sigh of relief. She had never brought Mo to any banquets before, and this time, it was because of someone's request. When old Madame Hua walked in, the 7 people outside were about to explode. "Hua, the old madam of the Hua Corporation? That can't be the young master of the Hua Corporation, right? Doesn't the young master never show his face? Why would he come to Bei Yunja's birthday? Moreover," from the tone of the young master and the old madam, it was obviously because they knew Bei Yunj. At this moment, the few people standing outside in the cold wind wanted to punch themselves. What kind of damned business did they do? Even the old madam and young master of the Hua Corporation were present, at the same time. Not only were the few people outside in the cold wind shocked, but also the guests inside who were trembling in fear. Seeing the sudden arrival of the business big shots, everyone wanted to hide in a corner. Sister Pei, Mo brought a gift. Mo ran in front of Bei Yunj and said excitedly. Bei Yunja's lips curled up. She squatted down gently and looked at him at the same level. "You know it's my birthday too?" "Of course." After saying that, everyone saw the beautiful little boy holding Bei Yunja's hand. With one hand behind his back, he suddenly kissed the back of Bei Yunja's hand. His gentlemanly demeanor made everyone turn upside down. At this moment, Mo's obsidian-like eyes were exceptionally beautiful when he smiled. "Today, sister is also a princess." The young ladies below the stage could not help but cover their mouths. Their hearts were about to explode from a child's teasing. Wasn't this young Master Hua too cute? Polite and gentle. He was indeed a top-notch wealthy family. Off stage, old Master Qin was also stunned. "This is Madame Hua, right? Io, isn't this your home?" Old Madame Hua restrained her impulse and maintained her usual elegance and coldness. She held old Master Qin's hand reservedly. She gently pulled the cloak on her shoulders and smiled gently. "Old Mr. Qin, right? Your gu is so lovable." "Thank you for your compliment, old Madame Hua." Old Master Qin forced a smile. He did not expect Washidu to bring Bei Yunj to see old Madame Hua. She also did not expect that the Hua family would personally attend Bei Yunja's birthday party. "It's not a compliment. I just like this child. In the future, our 2 families should interact more." Old Madame Hua smiled slightly and quietly dug a hole. Old Master Qin chuckled awkwardly as he sensed something. This is a little embarrassing. There's no need. Look at how much my grandson likes your go-er. Old Madame Hua smiled even more gently. But for a moment, Old Master Qin didn't know which grandson Old Madame Hua was referring to. The banquet was lively. However, no one noticed the man who was slowly walking in from the door. P.S. I'm afraid you'll say that I'm stuck. Remember the monthly tickets and recommendation tickets.